Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it, shall we? The Thursday morning edition of the Rob Brown Show goes now. Howdy, y'all. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. Hope all is well out there in Radio Land. Hope you're having a lovely week so far. We are. Not that you asked. It'd have been rude of you not to. My name is Rob Brown. The pleasure is almost exclusively mine, almost because on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM is the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave, the Content Cash Cow, the Sheriff of Sports Talk. He is the great one, Lonzo. What up, Zoe?
Nope.
Good enough for me. Struggle bus pulled up against Zoe's compound real hard this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of lack of sleep, a little bit of getting yelled at through email about something stupid. And then the other thing is having to go somewhere I don't want to go tonight. So, I mean, it's a combination of a lot of things.
And
above all that, I didn't want to have to wear this shirt. And now I'm wearing this shirt. And you can see why I don't want to wear this shirt.
You look great.
On YouTube, on X, on Facebook, and on Twitch.
You look great, buddy. It just looks a little chilly in here, but you look great.
Yes, that's the problem.
Hey, the stream's up for you right now at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate on YouTube or the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. You can come see how lovely the great one looks like in that beautiful shade of royal blue that he's rocking today.
Nope.
Pulling it off, buddy.
Lonzo is a superstar.
You look like one too.
It does make my eyes pop and other things pop. That's all I'm saying. There's that. Maybe the powers that be will go, you know what? We changed our mind. You don't have to go.
Crap. Turn that back down for 1 second. I forgot to mute the thing. Wait for it.
Looks like I'm not the only one struggling.
Okay. Now you can turn it back so that I can say.
It would have worked so much better if you would have been able to.
I could have hit it in time.
Yeah, it would have been good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you see me wandering around downtown later,
with his hands holding his chest for no reason,
I'm just lost. That's all. I don't know where I'm going. I don't go down there often.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a show lined up for you today. A lot of stuff to get into as we are now just a few hours away from getting NFL preseason week number 2 underway. We got some news and notes. And, of course, to break down the Carolina Panthers coming up this morning at around 9:40 a.m., we will be joined by Rashad Beard. Rashad is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. Rashad plugged into the team as much as anybody else. So we'll talk to Rashad coming up in less than 35 minutes. Then this AM at 11:20, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's time for Fight Club with the great one, Lonzo, and we are not at a shortage of stuff to talk about. We have got SummerSlam to break down. We have got last night's.
Was that last weekend?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got to talk Brock and Cody, Tribal Combat. Then we've got All Elite Wrestling from last night, NXT from earlier this week, because they are about to have another premium live event.
Or we just may skip all that and just talk Elon Musk.
Elon and Zuck.
Yeah, we made us. Yeah.
I've been waiting for that.
Yeah, me too. I've prioritized that story.
I like it.
Is it at number 1?
I like it.
On my bullet points.
I like it. Texter said, I hate that your show is starting now. The DA show is actually going to have someone on to talk Clemson football. Yeah, you know who they were going to have on, or I guess I should say are having on, is Don Munson, the voice of the Clemson Tigers. Gosh, Lonzo, if only there was another show in the upstate that recently had Don Munson, the voice of the Clemson Tigers, on for 20 freaking minutes.
And at least twice a year, Don Munson is on. More than that, because he's a friend of the show, and he's a good guy, and he'll come on whenever we ask him to. When he's not busy, because he's also a busy guy. And Texter, just go away, man.
No, don't go away. Stay
No,
right here.
No, go away. You're annoying, man.
Stay right here.
Take your Clemson butt over to the Clemson channel. I mean, you just go ahead. I mean, just shut up. I'm not. Lorenzo's in the building. That's all I'm saying.
Lorenzo is in the building today, ladies and gentlemen. Lorenzo is in full force today. He is. I'm just going to tell you, Lonzo, scratch. Lorenzo has zero patience for your shenanigans today, people.
Just ignore the name on the shirt. They misspelled it.
Had to make sure it was the right one.
Oh, if they would have made me a Lorenzo shirt, they would have no idea what they would have unleashed.
We're going to. It's just going to be sleeveless and denim.
I'm all right with that. How you know I don't already have one of those?
I don't know that you don't already have one of those.
That's the uniform in Lawrence County.
We have got to talk later on. We've talked a little bit of baseball this week because the one thing I do not want to get to is into football season. We just forget baseball exists, especially when your Atlanta Braves are the best team in Major League Baseball right now, record-wise. They just swept the New York Yankees, finished up that 3-game sweep yesterday with a 2-0 victory, courtesy of an Eddie Rosario dinger early in the game that they rode to victory. How about Charlie Morton looking like an all-star last night? 10 Ks through 6 innings of work. Good work out of Charlie Morton yesterday. The Braves pitching all of the sudden looks like it's the Braves pitching again. Very excited about that. But I want to talk specifically about Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronald Acuna Jr. is your National League MVP odds-on favorite right now, and that is precisely and exactly 0% surprising to me. There are 8 members all time in baseball's 25-50 club. That is 25 dinges and 50 stolen bases in a single season. There are 8 members of that club. Ronnie Acuna is 8th. But that is not the most impressive stat so far. That is not the thing that I think tells you about the historic season that Ronald Acuna Jr. is having. I'm going to give you that stat later on in the radio broadcast today. The Pac-12, or the wreckage, the carnage left behind, the 4 teams still standing, have some high-profile voices working the phone lines right now to try to find them a home, specifically in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And I want to talk about that because it is one thing when the presidents of Cal and Stanford are making phone calls to the ACC and going, hey, hi, yes, we would like to come play football with you now. And the ACC's like,
you don't know me, but a friend suggested that I make this phone call to you, and hi. My name's Cal. I'm an 84-year-old single football team from California who likes sushi and long walks on the beach. And I was just wondering if maybe you had any plans for Saturdays for like next season. Cause like I'm interested, you know? And I just thought it would be like totes fun if like maybe you and me could get together and, you know, play a little football. That was real dumb. I don't know why I did that. Here's the fun thing. I enjoyed every second of it.
It's one thing when Tiffy picks up the phone and goes, hi, are you busy next Saturday? It is another thing when a former president of the United States of America calls and goes, hey, I got this friend. Let's play a little football. So we'll talk about that coming up here in just a couple of minutes. And if that changes the national landscape at all, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's more expansion talk. Let's go. So we got that coming up for you in just a little while?
Nope.
Are you excited about that?
Nope.
Yeehaw. We'll get into that. ESPN has put out its power rankings to start the season, and they pretty much in line with what's going on right now in the AP preseason poll, but there are a few teams that are a little bit higher, a little bit lower. We'll take a look through the ESPN SPI Power or SP Plus Power polls later on in the show. We'll see how you guys feel about that. It's going to be busy, my man. Texture says, Rob, more like the New York Stankies, am I right? Got him. Got him. Yeah. Joey B says, Yankees have a losing record and have been shut out in back-to-back games. Wish George Steinbrenner was still alive because his meltdown would be epic. The Yanks are now under 500. This is the latest in a season the Yankees have been under 500 in 30 years. The last time that the Yankees were under 500 this deep in a season was the last time that the Yankees had a losing season 30 years ago.
Is there any other team in sports where people hate them so much that they want them to lose like this? Because I still don't understand the hate for the Yankees, but you guys seem to have it. Is there any other team that you're just like that? That's not a rival.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Actually, Garrett, I do. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys. You know what teams?
Yeah, but
that's
just you, man. Because I know more people who love the Cowboys than I do who hate them.
Right. You didn't ask the quantity of people who hated them. You asked the quality of the hate, and the quality of the hate runs deep. Right? Do you know why the quality of deep runs so hate for the Yankees, for the Cowboys? I would argue for Notre Dame as well. There's a reason for it. It's because you know so many fans of them. Because the majority of them are bandwagoners. That's it. The majority of Dallas fans, the majority of Spankies fans, they are on board because they used to be really good and it's super cool to be a fan.
Okay, so the hate comes from seeing all the bandwagon? Is that legitimately why
yes.
where the hate comes from?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
The hate, not just the bandwagon, but the arrogant, the undeserved arrogance of those people on the bandwagon.
I'm just trying to think of teams that I dislike just because I dislike them, and I have a reason for disliking all the ones I do.
Right.
But but it's all rivalry stuff. It's not just, wow, their uniforms suck, I hate them. Because if that was true, I would hate Cleveland. I mean, the worst uniforms in football.
I'll tell you what I dislike about the Cowboys. With all due respect to...
Sometimes, Joe, we hear that guy on the radio.
With all due respect to guys like Cole Bryson.
And bless you, by the way, and let's say...
I was going to get away with that one.
Let's say the boss, who just also happens to be a Cowboys fan. Yeah.
For the record, for the bosses is.
And there's a dude who drives around with a bunch of cowboy stuff who used to call in. That dude is awesome.
To the true fans, I intend no disrespect. However, the majority of the fans that I have encountered are the people who go, who's your favorite team? Well, in baseball, I like the Yankees. In football, I like the Cowboys. In basketball, I like the Lakers. Really? In college football, I like Notre Dame. In soccer, I like Man U. It's always the same 5 clubs.
All right, I got them all except for that last one, because I don't think that guy talking that way would say anything soccer.
The point here is that the unbridled hate, the deep running hate, is from the arrogance of bandwagon fans, right? It is from Cowboys fans who roll up and go, we're America's team. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're Dallas's team. Yankees fans going, there's more of us than all of you. Yeah. Because you were good 20 years ago. Stop. Your fans are obnoxious.
James,
You're obnoxious.
You may be right there, actually. I don't know, possibly.
Yeah, pretty much. Again, when I see Braun, noted Ohio dude, show up Cowboy. Now, I will say this.
All right, well, we're going to have a fight if you're going to start that. Well, you're from this town, so you have to like. I mean, that's been done before, and it was lame when it was done by the person who did it.
Let me put it this way. LeBron James is what, 39 years old now? Because he's slightly older than me.
But much more athletic.
Slightly. 39 years old is LeBron, which means that LeBron was in his sports watching early days during the runs of the 90s Cowboys. Troy, Emmett, Irvin, etc. Right? And despite my family.
You know what? I couldn't stand any of those guys.
That's fine.
Yeah. So.
But the majority of them, those Dallas Cowboys teams were really good.
Not at the beginning, but yes, eventually they got pretty good.
So if you are in my age range, then you were coming of your sports watching age when the Cowboys were decimating the NFL. And not to out him, but he's not on the stream yet, so it's fine. My family, obviously, black and gold bleeding Saints fans. But there was a period of time in the mid to late 90s when my little brother, who is 3 years younger than me, was a Cowboys fan. Had Cowboy. Y'all, we ain't never been to Dallas at that point in our lives, but he was just a big old Cowboys fan.
I've never been to Kansas City. You know what? But I'm a Kansas City. What does that have to do with fandom? That's because
the connection for the record, I'm saying I understand why he was a Cowboys fan.
Okay, because you're going down
he's wrong for it.
You're going down a parallel road to the person I was talking about earlier.
I'm saying I understand why he was a Cowboys fan, because when he was 5 and the Cowboys were dominant, if you're a 5-year-old and you jump on board a team that is kicking ass, I got no problem. I understand that. You're 5, right? Now, if you are 35 and you're just jumping team to team based on who's holding a trophy, forget you, my guy. I got no time for that. You got zero dedication, zero loyalty, zero fandom, right? The majority of Cowboys fans are bandwagon fans who are arrogant as hell, as if their teams, I don't know, won a playoff game in the past 20 years.
All right, it is obvious that you and I run in different circles. I just run in circles. But the circles that I run in, all the Dallas fans that I've met are all good people. So I just, isn't it weird how people can meet people that are good and someone else only meets the bad people? Why do you only meet the bad people? Maybe you should come into my circle and meet all the good people, Rob.
I'm good. I'm set.
Get over there with all the haters.
All right, here's what we got to do. We got to run to a break. What? We're on time-ish.
Yeah, that's why I was shocked.
We got to run to a break when we come back here in just a moment from right now. The Pac-4 is desperately trying to find a path to survival. In order to do that, at least some of the teams are going to have to find a landing spot, or they're going to have to include the Mountain West Conference. Does that mean survival? Meh. But 2 of the schools within the Pac-4, specifically the 2 that are the most interesting, now have a couple of advocates making phone calls on their behalf. So, who are these advocates lobbying for a second chance at the ACC for Stanford and Cal? And does their prestige have any impact on the landscape of college ball? We'll take a look at that when we come back. I'm Rob Brown. The great one Lonzo's on the other side of the metaphorical glass. You're listening to the 2-time SBA Sports Talk Show of the Year, The Rob Brown Show, on the Fan Upstate.
I was really looking, like that because I have to go to the restroom and you're going on time, and it's weird. It's just,
You're welcome.
shows you how weird this day has been. By the way, Kevin, here's what it comes down to. Whatever fan base is your favorite fan base, it's awesome. Not you specifically, but anybody's fan base. I'm glad that you're a fan of something. No fan base is better than another fan base.
No fan base is better than another fan base. I could not disagree with that more. There are some trash fan bases. That doesn't make them not terrible. I don't care what they think about them. The only thing that matters is what I think about them. There's a stack of posters over here, and I don't know what they are. I think they're Furman. Yeah, they are. Cool. So how's everybody in the stream? Y'all doing good? Joey B, James, Trey, Kevin, Steven. I'm a fan of 15 teams, and they usually stink. I have more respect for you if you're a longtime fan of a team that historically stinks, right? Because who's claiming the Kansas City Royals that's not a Royals fan, right? I have respect for Buffalo fans, right? You guys have been putting up with crap since the early 90s. You guys have been putting up with BS. And not only did you stick around, but you've stuck around in numbers. Out of respect for the Bills fans. The Bills fans, Kevin, Bills fans and Saints fans honestly have a lot in common. I have an affinity for the Bills fans because you remind me of the Saints fans. Great respect for awesome fan base, even if it's not a team I pull for, Buffalo, Duke, etc. Again, respect for passionate fan bases. But you can be passionate and also suck. I know a lot of people who are passionate and suck.
Here's what it comes down to. If you are a fan in that fan base, you could care less what other people think. You're having a great time. It's awesome. Your fan base is the best fan base. That's all I'm saying. And Dallas Cowboy fans are good people. I don't know who Rob needs. Maybe he just misunderstood what they were saying. I don't know any Eagles fans, as far as except for there's somebody on the stream who's an Eagles fan. They seem like an all right person.
Again, talking about the fan base at whole. There can be good people within a terrible fan base, and there can be terrible people within a great fan base.
No, all I got to do is put my glasses on when we go to that thing tonight. No one will know who I am. Where is it? There it is. Let's see where my name was and just kind of scratch all the time so they have no idea who it is. There you go. Sorry, James, I couldn't remember. I knew somebody was an Eagles fan. The only really bad fan base that I've ever had dealings with are Clemson fans. That's it. And I know that I've met enough good people to counter the bad ones. The bad ones are just really loud and arrogant. The majority of them don't dress well either, but what would I know? I feel overdressed right now wearing a polo. And I know this sucks for you guys. I'm wearing jeans today. Did you
go commando?
Never. If I had one pair of underwear, which I could not wash but once a week, I would wear those dirty underwear all week. If you are a fan of going commando, I don't understand you. Just going to say that. Can you be a fan of that, though? bro, you're going Commando too. Cool.
I'm a big fan of Commando.
Was there like a brotherhood of Commando?
I'm a big fan of going Commando, and I respect anybody who else do it. I think it's one of those, like, dudes can bond over anything.
Well, that's true.
Dudes can bond over anything. There was a TikTok going around the other day of a wife who was like, my husband, we just moved to a new house. My husband just met the neighbor. They met 11 minutes ago. He walked into the garage, and they have the same weed whacker. And she's like, they're best friends because they have the same. They have not stopped talking and drinking beers.
Yeah, women can't do that.
And I'm like, that's incredible, right? So I'm going to get to that Pac-12 thing here in just a minute. But to finish up the conversation we were having there about fan bases you like and do not like, you can't stand. As I pointed out to Zoe during the break, great fan bases can have terrible people contained in them. And terrible fan bases can have great people in them, right? The Phillies are an awful fan base. They're obnoxious, they're beeholes, and they take pride in that. But it does not mean that our buddy James on the stream, a P1 who's here every day, I love James. He's good people, man. He's a good dude. But Philly fans revel in being jerks. It's like their whole thing. Let me tell you how bad they are. Trey Turner, shortstop for the Philadelphia Phillies. He came over from the LA Dodgers this offseason. Trey Turner has been wildly underperforming this year, all right? They're paying him way north of $200 million, and he's been not good. Been like a 190 hitter, barely threatening 200 this year. It's been bad, right? Well, after weeks and weeks of booing Trey Turner audibly every time he came to the dish in a home game, about a week ago, Lonzo, the Phillies fans said, what if we try something new? And you know what they did for Trey? They actually gave him a round of applause, a standing ovation. And then Trey Turner actually got hot after that, went on like a 9-game hitting streak or something crazy. Right?
Wait a minute. So positive reinforcement actually worked?
Shocking.
Wow.
Philly for years has been booing and threatening to beat up everybody, including their own damn teams.
By the way, James says no one likes us. We don't care.
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
I believe that's most fan bases. Most fan bases, they care about their brothers and sisters in arms within the fandom, and they don't care what other people think about them.
Right. But there's a difference between, Lonzo, if you don't like me, I'm cool with that. And, screw you! And if you don't like me, I don't care. Like, you understand?
I do appreciate that you didn't go through with that, because you very well could have. Yeah, it wouldn't.
It's off the stream over here. I could have got away with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, even on the stream, you probably could get away with it.
I could. I fake double-birded Lonzo. Point is, there is a difference between, hey, man, if you don't like me, that's totally cool, versus, yeah, I just punched you in the face. I don't care if you don't like me.
You threw
the second is
threw the John Cena birds at me. I knew they were there, but I couldn't see them. I saw they were playing at an election in Ecuador or something.
They're playing everywhere, man.
The other day, yeah.
So there can be good people in a bad fan base, and there can be bad people in a good fan base, right? I mentioned for years, my favorite NFL fan base is outside of my own? The Buffalo Bills, right? The Bills. As much as I don't want to pump up Kev's head on the stream, I freaking love the Bills fan base. I do, for a couple of reasons. Numero uno, I've been where they've been. Their team was real bad for a real long time.
So wait, you've been to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row and lost?
I lost all of them?
Yes.
No, I've not done that.
I don't. You know what? I don't think anybody else has.
I don't think anybody has either. But that does mean that they've been real bad for real long, because they've been since then, right? So
wait, they've got Josh. Why haven't they been there?
They've got Josh Allen.
Oh no,
I took one away.
He's just Josh.
I took one away. So, Buffalo fans I respect, because they still bring it. They are still power bombing each other through tables at tailgates. They're still doing the old dunkaroos. They have a great time, even though the team's been. Now that the team's been good, they're like, let's take that to a new level. But you don't hear about away team fans showing up to Buffalo and leaving on body bags like you do in Philly. That's a little dramatic, but it's close.
So Kevin says you have to have an arrogance to be a true fan. I don't believe that. I don't think you have to. You can, I'm a fan of Rob Brown. I'm not arrogant about it. I'm just a fan of Rob Brown.
I mean, we kind of are, if we're being honest.
That dude wins awards. Why would I not be a fan of that guy?
We are a little, we're a little arrogant.
I made him blush. But I don't think you have to be arrogant about your fandom. I really don't think you have to. Now, some people relish in that, and they use that as a reason to act a certain way, because being a fan, you can get away with things that maybe you don't get away with in other forms of society.
I mean, not disagreeing.
Oh, he's just a fan. That's all. I mean, that sort of thing.
A point here is there are fan bases that are over. Okay, let me try that again. There's a difference between confidence and love and arrogance, right? Lonzo and I are very confident in this show.
See, I ride this fine line that I've had forever. If I show confidence, people think I'm being arrogant. I don't know how to show confidence without it looking arrogant. I don't know how to do that.
There is a different here. Let me put it this way. This was what I think I've said this before. The old man used to tell me, if you have to tell people you are a thing, you're not, right? Now, that obviously there are limits to that. We are two-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year. We just are. That's on paper. But if I walk onto the mic and I go, hey, everybody, I'm a kick-ass radio host. It's like, nah, if I am, just be that. Just do that, right? If somebody comes on the air and every single segment, they're telling you how amazeballs they are, as the old phrase goes, then they're probably not. But if they just come on the air and they be a great host, then they probably are. If Cowboys fans every year come at you and go, we're the best. We're the best. Are you? Why don't you just go out there and win? That's obnoxious. Versus the fan bases who just like to party and have a great time. I've never heard. Kansas City is very good right now. Top of the game. I don't see Kansas City fans out there being bleep holes about it. They're just fun. They're just having a good time, right? I'm not afraid. Let me put it this way. I'm not afraid to go to a game at Arrowhead. I'm not afraid to go to a game in Buffalo. I'm not afraid to go to a game in Green Bay.
Bragging is not arrogant.
Never go to a game at Philly.
Bragging is bragging arrogant.
Yeah.
Kevin thinks bragging is arrogant.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
So where's the fine line between bragging and saying, we did this thing and we're so excited about it. We won Sports Show of the Year again. Or, yeah, we knew we was going to do that. I mean, where is that line? I
mean, I think the line is subjective, but I also think it definitely exists, right? And I think that line is a circle around Dallas as a whole and Philly.
I hope you get a text that says stop over.
Bring it.
If
that's the thing I get in trouble for.
Mean that.
All right. Texas said, I remember the time I gave Clemson fans the complete wrong directions from where they wanted to go just because of the dudes being haters. I love that. Texas said, I sent that sorry son of a bleep and his dumb girlfriend way the wrong way on White Horse Road when they wanted to go downtown. LOL. Texas said, FYI, pretty sure the Vikings lost at least 4 Super Bowls, and not many people are spouting Viking nonsense like those fans.
Yeah, but not
back to back.
Yeah, while being touted, Jim Kelly's the greatest quarterback. I know you're not allowed to say, but he was a jerk, man. I don't care. And was it Marv, the coach, who looked like he was 90 when he was like 50? He's like my age. He looked like he's 90 something.
For the record, I met Jim Kelly a few years back. He came to speak at my sports group down in Pensacola. Super nice. I'm sure he is. A lot of people mellow after their playing days, but while they're playing, they come across a certain way. I mean, you can't forgive the guy now? It's been a long time. What do you mean forgive? There's nothing to forgive. I mean, it's historical what he was able to accomplish. 4 in a row, baby. All right, we got to take a break. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joins us in the next segment to break down last week's preseason Fat L, and this week's game against the Giants. Then I'll get into that Pac-12 thing. I wanted to do it here, but you guys are all over the map. Let's take a break. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate. All right, I'm going to take us away while Rashad joins up, guys. We will be right back. All right, y'all. We are waiting on Rashad.
So visit your neighborhood We Ship It All store for dependable UPS shipping with easy-to-use tracking and competitive rates. The UPS store. Be unstoppable. The UPS store locations are independently owned. Other service and pricing knowledge may vary. See center for details.
Kelly Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering.
Could be worse, James. You could get nothing.
Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the it's, KBB.com.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the band.
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Live on the Free Odyssey app, CBS Sports Radio. Getting the game on the Rob Brown Show.
All right, waiting on Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, should be joining us here momentarily, we hope. Have not heard from Rashad, but also he does have a kid and a real job. So, you know, he'll show up when he shows up. He's Rashad Beard, you know. It's kind of his thing.
That's his real job. Absolutely his real job. Had it all queued up and ready to go. But he's out doing that spy work. Sorry, stream. We don't want to be flagged. We'll see if while this song is playing, he suddenly appears.
The summoning didn't work. All right. So let's get to a couple of things for the Panthers preseason game this week against the New York Giants. Back-to-back games against teams from the Big Apple. By the way, just for the lulls, while we're talking about it, this week the Atlanta Braves played both teams from New York. Over the course of those games, it was a pretty good run for the Bravos. In the last 6 days, Atlanta versus the entire city of New York, the entire city of New York City went 6-1 and outscored both teams 58-13. That's good, right? That's good, right? All right, we'll come to that later. Anyway, Rashad just texted. He will be joining us tomorrow on the show. Can't make it today. Says he's in a training and then does not elaborate what that means.
Yes, well, of course, he can't.
He had a meeting with M.
Yeah, that's what he did. Yeah.
He's in a meeting with M, getting some more gadgets and gizmos. He'll join us on tomorrow's show. But that's all right. Let's talk about the Panthers anyway. No TMJ this weekend. He is dealing with a tweaked back that he suffered a few days back. No Miles Sanders in the lineup this weekend either. He lost his groin and he's dealing with that injury.
Hope he finds it. It's a necessary thing to, go on with life.
Lonzo informed me of the loss of groin as a potential injury, and that's no good. Demir Boyd is going to be on Bird. Yep, I knew that.
It might be a Boyd. I don't know.
Like 6 different injury reports.
Yeah, Demir Boyd over here. The Boyd is he's on,
Demir Bird is placed on IR and looks like he will be unavailable for a minute. TMJ ruled out for tomorrow's preseason matchup against the Giants. He has got a tweaked back. And as we mentioned, Miles Sanders, we also know that Andy Dalton will be unavailable for Friday. That decision was made either late last night or early this morning. He is dealing with back tightness.
He is battling Rashad right now because Andy he's a villain. I mean, come on, without a doubt. And if you watch Andy Dalton on the sidelines, hopefully he'll be on the sidelines the entire season. His hair will get redder and redder as it goes. It's weird.
Dude, the golden eye on N64 pause music was just the greatest video game song of all time.
I tried to go back and play it because I had never beat it before, and it's hard to go back to the graphics and
that
things.
Sense of nostalgia that kicks in.
But okay.
All right. So we know no Andy Dalton, we know no Miles Sanders, we know no TMJ, and we know that Demir Bird is out indefinitively.
So who's playing quarterback, Rob?
Well, You're probably going to get a little BY early. Not a lot of BY. Probably about what you got last. I think like 5 to 7 passes worth of BY.
Like he'll be in one series, and if he gets rocked again, he'll be right back out.
Yep.
They got to fix that problem. I hope they fix that problem. I don't think the Giants' defense is as good as the Jets' defense, which is supposed to be, one of the top 5 at least. So we'll see. Hopefully them boys got after it this week and can block better.
Dem boys. The Giants as a team, I think defensively are going to be pretty average. They do have a very good defensive line led by Kayvon Thibodeau. They do have a very good front 4. They have a couple of dudes. Dexter Lawrence played like a defensive player of the year last year. Leonard Williams is an excellent interior pass rusher. They get Azeez Ojulari back this year, who has been banged up. Now, I don't know how many of these guys are going to play and how much they're going to play for the G-men early yet. But you're right. Their defense is probably not going to be anywhere close to what the Jets is. By the way, do you hear what the Jets are calling their defensive line? I kind of don't hate it.
No.
The New York Sack Exchange.
Hey, why not?
I kind of don't hate it.
That's kind of cool.
I kind of
really
dig it. I'm not going to be real. I'm not going to be.
We'll see if they live up to the bill. We'll find out.
I love it. I think it's a great name.
Do they ring a bell before they go out on defense?
They should. That should be their sack celebration. Like JVL.
Yeah.
The Giants defense is not going to be as good. And again, I do not know what the starting time is going to be, the number of snaps played by the starting 4 for the Giants against BY this weekend. Here's what I will say. The only question that I have, right? BY went 4 of 6 this past weekend. The 2 that he missed were both third downs and both in the face of pressure. I'm not looking at Bryce Young this week. I mean, I'm looking at Bryce Young every week because you look at your starting quarterback. I need the offensive line to be better, Lonzo. Like at the end of the day, I don't care if you stick, Tom Brady back there. I don't care who you stick back there. If the offensive line is as atrocious as they were last week against the Jets, whoever you put back there is gonna look questionable at best, right? Now, here's the good news, if there is any. Last week, the Jets rolled their D1s out there against BY and the first offensive line. The Jets played, for the most part, the defense they're going to start in week 1. And I will tell you that, and I think most coaches will agree with this, what you look like in week 1 is always going to be better for the defense than the offense, right? Because defense, while you have to get your schemes and all that correct, defense, you're reacting. You're reacting to what the offense does. Offenses have to find their timing and their chemistry in the face of full speed defense, because no matter how hard you try, I don't think that you are going to be able to replicate in practice what NFL game speed feels like, no matter how hard you try. You can't do it, right? So with this offensive line, having a week, having a game in the back pocket now, having some time. Now, again, I didn't want this to take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks to get this offensive line together, because by and large, with the exception of Cade Mays stepping in due to the injury to Austin Corbett, this offensive line is last year's offensive line, right? Christensen's still there. Icky's still there. Motana's still there. It's by and large the same offensive line from last year. An offensive line, Lonzo, that looked like trash for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, and by the end of the season was probably one of the better offensive lines in the National Football League. They went back to being trash, but it was preseason game 1.
I don't know. If we go back and look at the season and find out the defensive lines that they struggled against, they were really good defenses. And so, or at least were at the beginning of the year. then they faced the South most of the time where the defenses were not that good. So maybe we were lulled into a false sense thinking the line was better than what it was because of the defenses it was facing. And we're going to find out, if the Jets are as good as they seem like they might be, there's going to be a lot of offensive lines struggling against them across the entire league.
Listen, again, not only was it week 1, not only were you still in developmental mode, but you were up against the Jets who, again, I told you all last year, and I meant this. I thought the Jets last year were a quarterback and a quarterback and a better OC away from being a very good football team. I would be 0% surprised this year, Lonzo, if the Jets don't give Josh Allen a bit of a run in that division. I mean that. The AFC East, if Miami, I don't think they're going to be. I think Miami's a bit overrated. But if Miami is as good as a lot of folks are trying to convince me that they're going to be, that AFC East could be the AFC Beast this year. I don't think the Patriots are going to be them dudes. But I think the Jets are going to be real good behind Aaron Rodgers. I think the Dolphins have a chance to be. And the Bills are led by Josh Allen. They're going to be fine.
Just Josh.
So, with all of those things put together.
The Bills might actually finish third.
That I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
they could.
They absolutely could.
They could. If Miami is what everybody's trying to convince me Miami is, the Bills could finish third. I'm not going to pick them to. I'm still picking them as division winners. But if the Jets outpace the Bills, I wouldn't be shocked by that. And I said last year I thought that they were very, very close to being there because their defense is good. They might have one of the best defensive backfields in all of football, and the New York Sack Exchange up front is going to be lights out. So as far as what that means for the Carolina Panthers in week 1, like I said, it is going to take longer for your offense to develop that chemistry than your defense. Defensive guys, by and large, can lean on, as long as everybody does their individual job, the defense is going to be very good. Offense isn't, right? Offense isn't. Offense requires timing, chemistry, effectively choreography to be successful. So it's always going to be the case that offenses are going to look less prepared in week 1 than defenses do. So I don't want to panic over it. I don't want to freak out. Yeah, the offensive line looked like hot garbage in week 1 against the Jets. That's why my focus is on them in week 2 against the Giants, who are likely going to be a bottom half of the league defense this year. That being said, I'm not super concerned with Bryce Young, even without TMJ, because that's John Mingo's role. He steps into that slot, which is why I'm keeping an eye on him too. If John Mingo steps up and has a big day, I feel a lot more comfortable about the wide receiver room. You know who else has a big day this weekend? Probably Hayden Hurst, like he did last week, like I told you he's going to do. But we're going to get 2 series out of BY, and then, Lonzo, it's the Matt Corral show. This dude, it is this week that Matt Corral convinces Frank Reich he's worth keeping on the roster or not. Andy Dalton's out. Matt Corral needs to shine if he wants to prove he was worth the pick they put on him. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Hour number 2. We will get into that Pac-12 story. Vlatnovsky, the manager of the U.S. women's national team, resigned yesterday, so they'll be trying to find a new manager. We'll talk about that later in the show. I'll get to that Ronald Acuna stat that blew my mind yesterday. All that and more on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-210.
You know, Kevin, except when Buffalo plays Kansas City or if they play Carolina this year, I don't know if they do. I hope you win all your games. I want you to be happy. Probably not going to happen, though.
Hey, Mike, I like the lights.
Oh, hey, Jen. Yeah, they're energy efficient and saving the business a ton on electric bills. I got them in the warehouse, too.
Nice.
And get this. Duke Energy's Smart Path paid for almost
Hey,
70%
get this.
of the cost.
Wow, Duke Energy. How'd you get them to do that?
It was easy. Just look up the Smart Path program.
Duke Energy can help cover the cost of energy-efficient upgrades for your business. Visit duke-energy.com/smartpath today. We're going abroad for the first time. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language.
Every time this commercial says going abroad, I think mummy.
Words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
When he says, who's the broad? And she says, broad. I'm weird, though. So, I mean, you know.
The key is to own it. You know?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you're so weird. Yeah. Okay. Is that supposed to offend me? Well, it doesn't. That's all well and good, Kevin. They might actually beat the Chiefs. You know what? But they need to beat them in a meaningful game. But they didn't make it to that game last year because of Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow is hurt, so maybe you get past them this year.
Trey, we're going to talk about that coming up at the end of this hour.
Just was told that my trainee will be late to do the Burns game Saturday because he's going to do Fan Fest for Furman. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
There's a difference between wiggle and jiggle. Correct. If the jiggle causes the wiggle, you need a doctor. But if the wiggle causes a jiggle, it just means you got the dad bod, hashtag dad bod. That's me.
Same great show, new time. Now 19 noon, only on the Fan Upstate.
Football fans, this is Cole Bryson. Are you ready for the ultimate adrenaline-packed
Hard. No, stop it. You can't say that. Get on the stream. You get sued. Almost quoted someone that we're not allowed to quote. His ears are everywhere. Yes, Kyle. How'd you know? It is picture day. Rob forgot his shirt.
No, I'm just going home before I go over there.
It's not picture day. We have to go to a function, and we are required to wear our station gear. I do feel like, my mom dressed me, but should I button it all the way up? Gables.
Hour numero dos to the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, y'all. Great to have you. Rob and Lonzo with you on a beautiful Upstate Thursday morning. For those of you that tuned in expecting Rashad Beard, he will be joining us tomorrow on the show. He has got CIA training with M today, we assume. He'll join us tomorrow. We'll talk a little Carolina Panther football. Of course, tomorrow is preseason game number 2 for the Cats, lining it up in Joycey against the New Jersey Giants. Looking forward to that. In the meantime, while we wait for tomorrow's show, we have 2 more hours of today's show to get through. So let's work on that.
That is how that works, I believe.
Last I checked. Yeah. Condoleezza Rice and George W. Bush. Both individuals with some level of stature. Poof. Oh, Heather. Anyway, Stanford and SMU are both trying to find places to play football starting next season.
And to get an education, we're told.
Nobody cares. They're like, hey, we got all the really smart kids. Don't you want us in the football conference? And the football conferences are like, nerds.
Yeah, I saw Mark Ryan was visiting Vanderbilt earlier. So, yeah.
Vanderbilt.
He's getting a taste of where the nerds go to.
Nerds! I'm allowed to say it. I am one. Anyway, SMU and Stanford are both trying to finagle their way into a Power 4 conference. And now it looks like Condi and W are both working the phones trying to get the ACC to reconsider their position on acquiring those 2 schools, as is Cal.
Is she still on the CFP, or is she beyond that? I know she was on the original, if I recall.
I want to say she was on the one that started to put the whole thing together. I do not know if she still is or not.
So, so if you're wondering about her football background, and she's also
she's a big fan.
She's a big time fan. So.
Big fan. She is also, by the way, a professor at Stanford now who serves as the director of the school's Hoover Institute, a public policy think tank and research institute. W's wife, Laura, attended SMU, and the George W. Bush Presidential Library is located on the campus at Southern Methodist University.
So they both have interests. Okay.
Direct connections to Stanford and SMU, respectively. Well, we know that the ACC Los Presidentes, all got together in the last couple of weeks after we found out that the Pac-12 was dead. After we found out that the Pac-12 had come to its untimely end at the hands of Oregon, Washington, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado.
You need a more somber voice. Pretend like you're doing a funeral home commercial.
Is your conference dead? Do you want your conference in a better place? I can't. I screwed the pooch on that. Let's just kill that off. Get it? Kill that off. Okay. So the ACC leadership all got together last week to discuss whether or not they wanted to bring Stanford and Cal into the mix. They did not. They did. They went ahead and passed on the whole thing. And it doesn't shock me. Now, it was very close, right? They needed all but 3 schools to say yes. 4 schools said no. As of this point, the JD just said, yeah, I'm going to need Rob not to do my eulogy. Well, first off, JD, why the hell would you ask me to
Yeah,
do it?
because in the middle, well, because you're a 2-time South Carolina Broadcast Association Sports Show of the Year guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we gather here today to celebrate the life and times
No, don't do that.
of the Pac-12
Okay,
conference.
all right.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do
I
JD
said
on air.
you had me worried there.
After 108 years of health and happiness, the Pac-12 came to its untimely demise when members of its own family stabbed it in the back, repeatedly, viciously, and without remorse.
Wait, are we talking about Julius Caesar?
Kinda. To California! Anyway, so the ACC got together. They're like, hey, yo, Cal, Stanford, Washington State, Oregon State, SMU. There's some schools out there that need a home. Do we want to go ahead and add any?
Hey, you want your GPA up? We want your GPA up. You bring us in, your GPA, it goes up.
Look, it's real nice if you can bring in some nerds, as long as they're competitive, right? Well, Clemson, allegedly, Florida State, allegedly, Virginia, allegedly, and Virginia Tech, allegedly, and potentially more, Miami, North Carolina, all said, nah, we aight. But let's be honest. I told you that then. I'll tell you again now. It had 0 to do with their football program or their academic standings. It had nothing to do with any of that. All it had to do with was the fact that by adding more member institutions to the Atlantic Coast Conference, it would become more difficult down the road to get the necessary number of votes required to dismantle the conference if they could start putting that procedure, that policy into play. If there are more people in, especially if Cal, Stanford, SMU were to get into the ACC, you think in 3 years they're going to be like, yeah, screw this. We're out. Disband. No. They are all guaranteed long-term yeses to keeping the ACC alive. So if it does get to a point that FSU, Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, Virginia Tech decide to go the route of the nuclear option and blow the ACC up from the inside because they all believe, or maybe at that point know, that there's an invitation waiting for them from the Big Ten or the Southeastern Conference, or hell, maybe the Big 12. And that's the only way they're going to be able to get there, is if the conference just doesn't exist anymore. Well, Cal, Stanford, and SMU certainly are not going to, within a few years of joining the ACC, then vote to blow it up. And you know why? Because Cal, Stanford, and SMU aren't going to have invitations anywhere. How do we know that? Because they don't have any right now, when it is free to add them. No conference has to pay a dime to get any of those 3 schools in their conference, yet none of them are on the horn with Stanford, Cal, SMU, Washington State, or Oregon State.
It's like being the last kid for kickball.
Yeah.
When you're standing on the wall and someone has to take them.
Yeah.
And you're like, nah.
No, I would argue quite the opposite. It's like when you show up to school the day after tryouts for the basketball team, and there's that little white sheet taped to the basketball coach's door with the list of names. These are the varsity kids. These are the JV kids. And you roll up and you look down and you get to the end of the list of both names and you're like, I don't see my name. Cal and Stanford just straight up didn't make a team, right? They're not even on the team. They're not on the roster. So basically, they're going to the ACC which right now compared to the Big Ten and the SEC is the YMCA youth league team across town. And they're like, can we play? Can we play? And even the Y's like, nah, you nerds, you're not good enough to get up in here.
Come on, Stanford was pretty good when Harbaugh was there, and the coach that followed him was pretty good.
When was that?
Sorry, I don't remember his name because I'm old. So you're saying it's easier to blow the ACC up if you have less teams by bringing those guys in. Why wouldn't they just use them as a reason to blow it up? Because now there's less money. There's all these things. They brought down the play on the field because the quality of the mighty ACC is no longer that.
Here's how it doesn't work.
That was sarcasm.
Here's why it doesn't work. Because Pitt isn't going to agree to it. Because Syracuse isn't going to agree to it. Wake Forest is not going to agree to it. Likely, Duke is not going to agree to it. There are all these other schools that are not going to blow up the ACC because no matter how much money the ACC is or is not paying out, nobody's calling Pitt to join. I don't think. Nobody's calling Duke to join as a football member. I don't think. Right? So nobody's making the calls to those schools. So those schools, no matter what you do, are not going to vote to disband the ACC. What Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, Miami, and it looks like Virginia and Virginia Tech, if we decide to go here's the other thing. Nuclear option is the last resort. Because if you blow up the ACC before you know you have a commitment to play anywhere else, an invitation to another conference, you're left dangling in the wind. And nobody wants that. I would rather have half of the Big Ten's annual payout guaranteed than zero guaranteed and a hope that the Big Ten or the SEC call you. We know if the ACC ceased to exist today, Florida State's getting a call, Clemson's getting a call, Miami's getting a call, North Carolina's getting a call. Probably Virginia and Virginia Tech are getting a call, but I don't know who else would be. So those schools are going to be less inclined to push that big red button and abort the whole conference. And if you add SMU, Cal, and Stanford into the mix, those are three schools that know the phone's not ringing. Because the phone's not ringing right now. And right now, it's free. The SEC, the Big Ten, or the Big 12 could pick up any of those schools for free. I'm almost a little shocked, to be honest with you, that the Big 12's not doing that, right? And now, I wonder if there is any. I don't know. This is just a thought. But I do kind of wonder if there is any communication going down between specifically Cal and Stanford, like, hey, no matter what happens, we stick it out together, right? Like we ride or die. Now, I got to tell you, we're kind of to a point in college football where I don't think ride or die is a thing anymore. The quest for the almighty dollar is more powerful than loyalty. We know that for a fact now. That's not a secret anymore. But those schools are not getting calls now. The ACC considered it and decided no. And so now we have found out via a report from Yahoo Sports in an article written by Ross Dellinger, who has kind of been one of the two guys along with Pete Thamel out at the forefront of most of these stories, that Condoleezza Rice and George W. Bush have been organizing conference calls with conference officials in the ACC to try to get them to invest in these two schools. As I mentioned, Condi is a professor at Stanford and a longtime fan. George W. Bush's wife, Laura Bush, attended SMU. His presidential library is on their campus right now. So the ACC initially said no. W and Condi have been working the horn like, hey, go ahead and let us in, man. Go ahead and let us in. Does that change anything to you? It doesn't to me. Right? Like it doesn't. Let me put it this way. Texter said SMU wants in so bad they said they don't even need revenue until like 2028. Yes, that is correct. SMU called the ACC and said, hey, look, If you open the doors and you let us in, let me in. If you open the doors and let me, this is old Bray Wyatt, back when he was fun.
I was thinking Poltergeist too. So,
If they let him in, SMU said, hey, here's the deal. You let me in, and we'll take care of our own cost for 5 years. That's a pretty good deal, right? If you went car shopping and you were going dealership to dealership, and one manager said, hey, here's the deal. If you buy from us, no car payments for 5 years. 5 years. You can save away money. Yeah, 5 years, I could put away enough money to just buy the thing outright. Right? That's a pretty good deal. And the ACC still said no. Because even after 5 years, they're going to cost more than they add. Likely, that's the breakdown, right? So I don't know how George W. Bush making the phone call changes anything. Like, what's he going to do? Hey, if you let me in, I'll come to all the games. So what? Right? Unless W owns a television network that's willing to up the grant of rights and also, by the way, pay to break the one they're in already. So what? Like, it's nice. It's great that there are players like this that are willing to get involved to try to keep college football balanced, right? But at the end of the day, when the ultimate prize is money, unless W is going to come to the table with either a fat stack or says, I'll tell you what, you let SMU in, and I will get all my president people, all these people back here, that's my president people. If you let us in, I'll get all my president people to figure out how to get you into a better grant of rights agreement, right? Because at the end of the day, the ACC has one objective. What is it? Make Florida State and Clemson happy. Make Miami and North Carolina happy. That's the goal. So if W says, you can have all my president's people, you can use my library to figure it out. You can use all my lawyers. I'll dedicate them to you, and I'll pay for it. And they can come, and even then, it doesn't matter because it's not like the ACC doesn't already have great lawyers, right? It's the ACC. You think Duke and Carolina and Wake didn't churn out a lot of really good lawyers who would be more than happy to cut some pro bono services instead of a booster check this year to see if they could get the ACC into a better place in terms of GOR? But unless W is going to go throw the full power of the presidential seal of the United States of America into the ring, this doesn't change anything, man. Like, it kind of is what it is. So I got on social media last night and I heard the rumblings, right? W's involved. Use some strategery. So, and what? Condoleezza Rice is involved. And? Right? So what?
Is that desperation, or is that we're pulling out all the stops and getting, the most powerful people we know to try to help us?
I think it's two alumni who very much care, or two very connected people who very much care, trying to do what's right for a program they love, right? At the end of the day, Condi is a Stanford fan. W is an SMU fan. They want what's best for the school, and what's best for the school and the most likely to happen is for those schools to get into the ACC. Because the Pac-12 don't want them. They're done expanding for now. The Big Ten and the SEC don't want them, and no other conference matters in the grand scheme of things. The only option is the ACC. So you have two powerful alumni or fans who care about their school and are trying to use the full weight of their reputation, of their legacy, to push those schools into the best possible landing place. But again, it's a tango that takes two. And if the schools if they can't say, right, like SMU can say, we're going to cover our cost for 5 years. We're going to cover our own costs. You don't have to pay us anything for 5 seasons. Fine. But when those 5 seasons are over, are you going to bump up the total revenue to where we can go to ESPN and go, hey, look, I know you didn't want to extend our GOR earlier, but now we've got SMU. Because at the end of the day, George W. Bush, Condoleezza Rice, they're just one pair of eyeballs, man. Right? ESPN is not going to go, we're going to give you 50, or $32 million a year. Oh, Condoleezza Rice is involved. Well, now let's give you the 52 mil that the Big 12 is paying out, the 60 plus mil that Ohio State is paying out, the 70 mil the SEC is paying out. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump you up. That's not how it works. So at the end of the day, I think it's great that very powerful fans are trying to get involved and do what's right for their university, their program, the teams and the schools that they're fans of. But at the end of the day, as I've said to you a million times, there is one set of numbers that matters. What you bring to the table and how much it costs to let you do it. Stanford and Cal are free right now. They bring no additional cost to the table except the cost of your school having to travel out to California to play. That's it. That's the cost. And by the way, I saw an article yesterday, also from Yahoo Sports, that was going through the timeline of the events that led up to the death of the Pac-12. Their estimation, Zoe, was that USC and UCLA were going to cost in the neighborhood of $10 to $12 million a year for their athletes to go play in the Midwest, in the Big Ten. Stanford and Cal estimated, scratch that, USC and UCLA estimated that it would cost them $10 to $12 million a year to bring teams to play out in the Midwest. How much do you think it would cost for the ACC to send teams on a per-school basis all the way to California? Probably a little more, right? Let's say $14 million a year. So right out the gate, no matter what Stanford and Cal put on the table, you can take $14 million a year out of that profit per school based on travel cost. So it's great that Condi and W and all these people are getting involved, but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the equation. Eyeballs in, money out to do it. And clearly they just don't move the numbers the way the ACC wanted them to, so I don't know how that changes anything at all. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute. There was an issue that took place at Colorado during practice. There was a scrum betwixt Buffs players, and there are 2 different elements of that I want to talk about. One was a reaction from Deion Sanders to the fight, and one was a reaction from fans on social media that I think is absolutely ridiculous, and we'll break them both down when we come back. It's Rob. It's the great one. It's you. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Gables.
All right, guys, we got a live read right here. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
teach your books, and bet smarter with BetQL. Download the BetMGM app today.
So push
For
the
the ones who
thing.
work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile.
Do what?
And the ones who get in early, so everyone can go home on time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Offering professional grade supplies backed by product experts, so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A tradition of mine is to pick up at least one new college polo each year, and I'm always trying to find something that nobody else has. If you're a Clemson or South Carolina fan, let me tell you, Smith & James has the nicest looking team gear you've seen. It's fresh and unique, and you don't have to worry about everyone else having your shirts. Better yet, people will be asking you where you got it. How do we know? Because we're wearing Smith & James, and they're asking us. Check out their collection today at smithandjames.com and stop by their stores in downtown Greer and on Verde Boulevard in Greenville.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou, 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898.
Man, I hate this shirt.
800-700-6898.
You've made that clear.
6898 or biglou.com.
Sponsored by AutoZone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Mark Ryan tells it like it is.
This week on Offside, it's going to be Carlos and Diesel manning the boards. They're going to have the very latest on college football realignment. How are the Carolina Panthers looking in the preseason?
I suspect the ACC is going to be put out of its misery very soon, P-Digits. I think it will put itself out of its own misery. But probably in like 2-3 years down the road, not soon.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan Upstate.
Ladies and gentlemen, want to tell you about a little event going down Saturday out on the beautiful campus of Furman University. It is Furman Fan Fest. And if there's one thing I love more than alliteration, it's football. Anyway, Furman Fan Fest taking place this Saturday, August 19th at 4 p.m. It is going to be out at Paladin Stadium. It's going to be a whole festival. It's going to be awesome. They've got live music by Furman alumni Trey Duncan, who is a country music and soul guy, which should be very, very good. They're going to have food trucks out there. They're going to have beer and soda for sale. They're going to have yard games, and it's your opportunity to meet Coach Hendricks' club for the first time, grab some autographs from the team, and not just the football team. The volleyball team is going to be out there. The women's soccer team is going to be out there. The cross-country team is going to be out there. The Furman cheerleaders will all be out there. On top of all of that, you're going to get to see the team in action for the first time because they will be holding a light practice that you as a fan will get to take in. You'll get to see them run through some drills, etc., as Furman gets ready for their week 1 contest coming up on Thursday, August 31st, when they host Tennessee Tech in game number 1. So Furman Fan Fest taking place this Saturday at 4 p.m. at Paladin Stadium. And hey, you're all invited, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get to a story real quick. Colorado Buffaloes and their head coach Deion Sanders were getting a lot of play due to an event that took place on practice. So I'm going to go to clip number 4 here in just a moment from now. Colorado was running a scrimmage the other day, and they, like, every other football team, had a bit of a dust-up. One of their running backs bullheaded his way into the end zone. One of the defenders took exception to that, tried to punch the rock out of his hands, and then they tried to punch each other. Now, as Zoe has pointed out many times, it's practice. It happens. Tensions get hot. It's a competitive game. But it wasn't the fight that got people interested. It was what happened right after the fight, because Neon Dion, a.k.a. Primetime, approached a couple of his players.
It's Coach Sanders.
Sorry, Coach Primetime approached a couple of his players. Now, the media was there just like the fans were because it was open practice. And Dion got picked up on camera talking to two of the offensive players who did not involve themselves in this fight. And it sounded like this. Dion went up to two players who did not involve themselves in the fight and said, I didn't see y'all fight. Where they do that at? Nowhere, sir. Where they do that at? Nowhere. A key player just got in a fight. I don't want to see y'all walking off. If one fight, we all fight. Where you come down on this, Lonzo? What's your thought on this? Dion sees two guys not get involved in the fight between teammates and says, if the boys go, you go. I don't want to see you walking away from that again.
I will just quote my my fraternity motto, which is one man is no man, which means we're all together in this. And yeah, you don't walk away from that. That's your brother, that's your teammate. You go out there, and even though they're fighting each other, it's still, I mean, you got to be involved in it.
See, I don't know where, I honestly don't know where I fall on this. Because yes, like I would get
I'm guessing you didn't expect me to react that way.
No,
but
you kind of did. I kind of thought that's the direction you would come down, because you and I have had these talks before about, like, with the NFL, the joint practices, right? But that's a different story, because when there's a dust up between the 49ers and the Ravens, those dudes wearing red, those are my guys, and those dudes wearing purple, those are not my guys. And no matter who was wrong, I got my guys back. But see, in this one, the guys wearing white are my guys, and the guys wearing black are also my guys. They're both my guys.
Yeah, but you have to try really hard to hurt somebody else in a fight in practice. I mean, really, you're doing less damage in a fight in practice than you are going head to head, doing normal practice things. And if you got some dummy over there punching a helmet, I mean, you know, there's that too. If you leave your helmet on, I was involved in several of these, so I can't act like I walked away, because I did not. Some of which I may have instigated.
I don't know, man. Like there's a part of me that goes, I 100% get, if your guy from your squad gets in a dust up, you get in there and have his back. But
I wish Dion was my coach, because in college I was second string. I got knocked down to sixth string because of a fight, but that guy had it coming.
See, like I said, I get it on one hand, in that the dudes are your teammates, but on the other hand, the dudes they're throwing hands with are also your teammates. Like, does that not kind of generate this atmosphere where it sounds like, or at least it could be taken as, you're almost you're almost wanting your team to fight each other? And I guess it, on one hand, absolutely builds bonds between the offensive players, and it builds bonds between the defensive players, but aren't you supposed to be building a team? And I guess you got to pick a side. Like, either you want the offense to build a great bond by having each other's back in the fisticuffs, and you want the defense to do the same, or you want, like, this always bugged me when I played. in high school, which is not the same. And I understand, shut up. But when we were in high school and we were playing under Bobby Moore, head coach of the Choctawhatchee Big Green Indians, our offense and defense were always separated, right? After school practice. For the first hour, the defense would lift and the offense would go out and run. And for the second half, the offense would lift and the defense would go run. And when we had team events, team activities, the offense would go together, the defense would go together. And when we had movie night in the clubhouse, the offense would watch a movie on one end and the defense would go watch a different movie on a different end. And I never got that, right? I never understood that because you're creating this atmosphere where those guys over there, I ain't with them. I'm never with them. We don't watch movies together. We don't have pre- and post-game meals together. These are my guys over here. And it almost felt like there were two different teams. And that doesn't seem like the right way to do it to me.
Well, I had problems with that because it was kind of like that at our high school too, but I started both ways my senior year. So I didn't fit in either place because I would practice some with offense and practice some with defense. And all these other guys were real tight with each other. And I couldn't be because I didn't spend as much time. Fighting is a part of football. If your pads are on, if you're not dumb and take your helmet off and use it as a weapon or something, chances are no one's getting hurt.
I don't know, man. Like, anytime, okay, I get what you're saying and you're not wrong, but anytime that two dudes throw, there's a chance somebody gets hurt. And if you are telling every member of your team to get involved, there's a chance that somebody important gets hurt, right? So what happens if Shedeur Sanders, the starting quarterback of the Colorado Buffaloes, sees two third-string guys get at it? Third-string running back and third-string defensive back get at it. And he's like, yo, I got to have my guys back because when one fights, we all fight. And he goes out there and he gets his hand mush on his throwing arm between two face masks. And now he's out for 6 weeks. Whatever chance Buffalo had at hitting the over 3.5 wins is now dead, right? I don't love it. I don't love it. And I know that some of you guys are going to hit me and go, Rob, you're going to go, Rob. Because I'm like, hey, maybe don't, I don't know, punch your teammate in the helmet. And hey, Rob, nothing bonds two bros like a fight. I disagree. I told Lonzo a story about
yeah, but you said you've never been in a fight. So
I haven't.
So how you know?
And yet I am still bonded.
So how do you? Yeah, but
here's how I know.
How do you know?
Because yesterday I saw. Let me just go ahead and up the Rob is take. But last night, scrolling the gram, I came across a video from a woman who was blown away. Blown away. She said, "We just moved into this house. My husband met the next door neighbor 30 minutes ago. First time they met 30 minutes ago. And now they're best friends. You know why they're best friends? And she videoed them. They were standing in the garage, toasting beers to each other, cheering like they were dudes. She said they met 30 minutes ago and they're best friends. You know why? They had the same weed whacker. The neighbor came over to introduce himself. He's like, oh, you've got this whatever model weed whacker. I got the same one. And the husband's like, dude, isn't it great? And they are boys now because they got the same way. They don't know a damn thing about each other. But they're boys. There are ways to bond that don't include, hey, let's punch each other. By the way, teammates, not a random dude, right? If Colorado was having a joint practice with Colorado State and they got after it, I'd be like, hell yeah, stand up. Get out there. Protect this house. But it's your squad, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, now here's the fun part. The second part. The second part is what the fans on social media started getting upset about. And I'll tell you what that is when we come back from a break. See what I did there, Lonzo? I'm paying attention to the clock. You know why? Because I'm a professional.
And because I'm not paying attention to the clock, that's why.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious.
I'll tell you what the fans were ripping Dion for on the social last night when we come back on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate. All right, let's see what we got here. Kyle says he preaches teamwork in one team and it fits in line with it. Could he mean at least like get in there and break it up in this case? I couldn't hear the quote on the stream. So what he said was, when one fights, we all fight, right? He said, when one fights, we all fight. And I honestly kind of have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that if it's a different team, right? Like if there's another team with you out there and you're getting into it. If there's another team out there and your boys get into a scrum, then yeah, like get out there and protect your dude. I get that entirely. Where I have a problem with it is when the guy's out, like, again, I guess I can't say it better than I said it on air. Aren't you kind of creating an unnatural division on the squad, right? Like, how can I know that your boys are all willing to fight for each other if they're fighting each other? I guess is the best way to put it. Like, I get wanting intensity out of everybody, but there's a difference between productive intensity and destructive intensity. Your boy a long time ago.
Wow.
Your boy a long time ago, when I left Jacksonville, went through a number of rounds of therapy to get myself out of the funk that I was in because of what happened to me in Jacksonville. And when I went to therapy, I had the therapist that I was working with talk to me, and I told her, I was like, I'm doing this, and this, and this, and like, I'm trying whatever. And she went, let's think about these actions that you're taking, right? Are you taking these actions because they will truly help you? Or are they taking these actions just to be doing something? Because taking action just to be doing something is destructive. You're not getting better. You're not taking steps forward. You're just jogging in place. You're not gaining anything. There is constructive intensity and destructive intensity. I feel like going out there and throwing hands against your own dudes is kind of destructive intensity a little bit. But again, I have been called soft many times in my life. Maybe I just don't understand.
All I know is that Goku fought every friend that he ever had, and then they ended up being his best friend for life and beyond life and death. If you can learn any lesson from Goku, fight them first, and then they'll be your friends. Every one of you are welcome. Same here. I don't, there's only like a couple friends that I didn't fight growing up.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. In short, my voice is peanut butter is smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No?
He couldn't do that because he was talking about therapy, James. That would have been counterintuitive or some big word that I'm using
Okay,
wrong.
let me fix it. Jacksonville is the butthole of America. It's the worst city I've ever been to. It is the worst city you'll ever go to.
He did say it was the reason why he had to go through therapy, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he did say that. So, I mean. That's a good point. Did you never beat up your brother?
No, my brother and I never fist fought.
That is weird.
Never fist fought.
That is so weird. No, like, Vegeta is not better, actually.
He said bitter.
Oh, see? That's why I need glasses. So many people want to pick Vegeta over Goku. They don't play football, Trey.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Rob and the great one with you. 844-326-3663 is the number if you want to jump on the air. You can also text the carpros.com text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. So there is a second thing that was going around on this Deion Sanders, Colorado Buffaloes fight in the world of social media, for whatever weight you put on that. There was a guy, and I don't remember who it was. There was a guy on Twitter who retweeted the video of this fight and the aftermath from Deion, right? And he said, it's hard for me to take all of this seriously when on the back of the jersey, the players have their social media handles. And I was like, do they now? And I went back and I rewatched the video, and it is correct. The practice jerseys of the players on the nameplate, instead of their last name, it actually has like their Twitter handle or their Instagram handle.
That is so cool and so progressive and so in touch with what's going on in the world today. Man, wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, I don't know what I know what your handle is. So yours would just say Rob Brown.
It would
so,
say, no, it would say, they say at the Rob
Brown
Show,
Show?
at
Okay.
Lonzo, one word. That would be the nameplate on the jersey. And listen,
I would probably go with my gamer tag, but
whatever you want to go with, your social media handle, your brand. And this is what I responded to this cat with. I said, look, I get it. You're old gruff football guy. Last name, in fact, no names, because the name on the front of the shirt's more important than the name on the back. Which, by the way, I agree with, just so we're clear.
Very VKM there. That was awesome.
You're fired. I love that. And if Deion is going to continue to successfully out-recruit other schools within the same sphere as him, that's the reason why. See, because what is the chief money-making enterprise for a college football player right now? Name, image, and likeness. AKA your brand. Listen to me. In every industry right now, I don't care what you're in, construction, engineering, football, radio, whatever enterprise you're in, outside of putting out a quality product, the only thing that matters is your brand. That's it. The only thing that matters is your brand. Nothing else matters. Recognition of the brand, acknowledgement of the brand, growth of the brand. Those are the three things you got to hit. And so for college football players to make money off of NIL, there has to be a brand connected to the name. And don't tell me, oh, I hate the name brand, because do you know what they used to call it back in the day? Your brand name. The name of your brand. I've said brand so many times, the word sounds weird to me now. But branding is what matters. And so if you're going to go find Shedeur Sanders and connect with Shedeur Sanders, the son of Deion and QB1 for the Colorado Buffaloes, what is the best way for you to go find and keep up with Shedeur Sanders? Social media. And what's the best way for a company that wants to do something with Shedeur Sanders to get their name out there? On his social media. And so the more social media followers Shedeur Sanders has, the more money he can make from an NIL contract or partnership using that. So this is actually a brilliant move. Because let me ask you a question, and I'm glad that P. Digits brought it up. If I ask you who Rod Smart was, Lonzo, I'm going to say most football fans don't know the name Rod Smart. You know what name every football player remembers? he hate me. Everybody remembers he hate me, right? If you want to go find he hate me, that's what you look him up as. This is brilliant. And if Deion's going to keep being out on the forefront, if he is going to be successful in Colorado, this is why. Because those players are building their brand. How many social media handles got seen on Twitter just because they got caught in that video yesterday? At least 5 that I was able to go look at. This is brilliant from Deion Sanders. Back after this for the third hour of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Electrifying Petco Park again. Tatis hit third, 2 outs. Fernando takes off. He's going to steal home without a play. Straight steal of home.
Straight steal of home.
Oh boy, he's something else. A straight steal of home and Padres radio Jesse Agler.
I'm glad they're making fun of it too.
That's steal of home.
Straight steal of home. I hope that's that guy's thing. I hope he just does that all the time. If you're calling baseball, would you ever call it a straight steal of home?
Yeah.
I don't think
that is what it is.
I don't think you would. You just don't want to make fun of that guy. That's fine.
As opposed to a crooked steal of home, which is where you zigzag down the third base line.
Well, they could be doing the whatever that thing is, the hot, where you're trapped in between bases. What's that called again?
A pickle, a throwdown.
Pickle. Yeah. Could be doing the pickle. Hey Rob. Hey Rob. Why is pickleball called pickleball?
I do not know.
It's just kind of weird because it's like tennis with like paddles. Maybe this is, I still don't get it. Suppose I could look it up, but speculation is so much more fun.
Correct.
Why is pickleball not so popular? There we go. The history of pickleball.
It was started at a retirement community, 100% in Florida.
Like all great stories, pickleball came about on a sunny day with little to do in 1965. 2 dads named Joel Pritchard and Bill Bell.
Good old Bill Bell.
Bill Bell. So that thing's been around since 65. Thought it came about during the pandemic. Okay. Pickleball was founded by Joel Pritchard, Bill Bell, and Barney McCallum on Bainbridge Island, Washington. Within days, Joan Pritchard had come up with the name pickleball, a reference to the thrown together leftover non-starters in the pickle boat of crew races.
Okay.
So the leftovers from the Pac-12. That's where pickleball started. I don't know. Since so many old people are playing pickleball, I think I could probably do it.
I mean,
it's more of a sport than that recreational thing that Rob plays. That old fat guys can go up.
Throwing strays around.
Old fat guys can go out there and go, I think I'll learn how to golf.
Come
and
walk 18 with me.
shoot it.
Come walk 18 with me.
Again, last time we had this conversation, I told you as soon as my knee's fixed, let's go.
Come walk 18 with me.
And you can make fun of everything I do. Or maybe you'll go, wow, look at that talent.
I'm blown away by the great one.
Let me tell you what you can do to improve your swing. Actually, help someone as opposed to most people.
Oh, I'll absolutely.
Because most people you go golfing with, they just want to make fun of you instead of going, hey, you know what you can do to fix that?
Be more than helpful.
You know how you can actually figure out what ball to pick or what club to pick? Because no one wants to tell you that. I'm guessing maybe it varies per player and skill level about which club you pick on each situation. But if you can narrow it down, well, you should go either the 3, 4, or 5 here, depending on how hard you hit it.
NASCAR.com/classics has just uploaded over 1,000 NASCAR Cup Series races to watch ad-free for free. That's incredible.
What does that say about the product? We can't get anyone to watch, so we're trying to get. Here you go. Here's a bunch of things free.
And the haters gonna hate.
Thank you, Joe. Again, let me wait till I get my knee fixed because swinging might end up making me fall on my back or face or side or something when my knee gives out. So you didn't immediately think that. Here's all this free stuff because no one's paying to watch it, so we're going to give it to you free to get you hooked on the product, I hope. So it's a pusher method, I think, isn't it?
The pusher.
Give you a little taste.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, y'all. Rob, Lonzo, and you. Be a part of the radio broadcast, 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. Text to 71307. That's the carpros.com text line. 71307 is the number. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. We'd love to have you. We're bouncing around all over the place today. I wanted to get to, let's go to this to start. How about the Bravos? Gave you the stat earlier in the day. Atlanta just got done playing 7 consecutive games against the 2 teams from New York, the Mets and the Yankees. They played a 4-banger against the Mets. They played 3 in Atlanta against the Yankees. In those 7 games, the Braves, Lonzo, went 6-1. They allowed 13 combined runs across those 7 games, which is less than half a run per game on average. That is less than 2 runs. I'm bad at math. Less than 2 runs per game on average.
Yeah, I'm just going to nod over here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Less than 2 runs per game on average. And they scored 58 runs across those 7 games. That is what we in the baseball world would describe as good. That's very good.
I thought you were going to say domination because that's what it sounds like to me, that they dominated New York.
We are the nation. Domination. Yes, it is. It is domination, and it is very, very good. It is exceptionally good, as a matter of fact. So, after the absolute domination that is the Bravos, which we talked a little bit about yesterday, let's talk about some individuals. Actually, let's talk about one specific individual. Let us talk, ladies and gentlemen, about Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronnie, right now, is your odds-on favorite to win the National League MVP. In fact, at this point, he's having a good enough year that I would say the only things that could keep Ronald Acuna Jr. from winning the NL MVP would either be A collapse of the most epic of proportions, or B, an injury, which Ronnie has suffered from in the past. We have talked about Ronald Acuna Jr. and the historic, frankly, season that he's having right now. He is on pace to be the very first member, if he can get there, of the 35-75 club. That is pretty impressive. Acuna has 27 home runs. He has an MLB best 55 stolen bases. The only player with 25 and 25 on the season, and he is at 27 and 55. If he can make it, he would be the founding member of the 35-75 club. That's very good. Very good. Ronald Acuna Jr. is on his way. Oh, scratch that. Has already punched his ticket to join the 25-50 club. There are 8 members total. Of the 25-50 club, Ronald Acuna is the most recent. But those numbers, while very impressive, don't necessarily tell you the full story because, hey, stealing 55 bases is a big deal. Hitting 27 home runs is a big deal for sure. But there's another number that I'm dramatically more interested in. And that other number I'm more interested in is where Ronnie sits from the plate just as a hitter. Not a power guy, not a push guy, not a finesse guy, just as a hitter in general. And where Ronnie sits right now with that number is pretty daggum impressive. In 2023, Ronald Acuna Jr. is batting .338 and leading baseball in on-base percentage. His on-base percentage right now is .423. That means that 4 out of every 10 times that Acuna goes to the dish, he ends up on base. Now, that includes walks, HBPs, of which Ronnie's taken a couple, and hits. What's more, underneath those numbers is the strikeout rate of one Ronald Acuna Jr., which is also beyond impressive. Ronald Acuna Jr. has sliced his strikeout rate in half, which is impressive. He entered this season with a career 25.3% K rate. Now, that's not atrocious. In fact, it is just a tick better than the league average, which sits around 24 point something percent. He was at 25.3 on the career. That is well within normal range for a power hitter. Most power guys are around that 24 to 27% K rate. That's the career. This season, Ronald Acuna Jr.'s K rate is sitting at 12.2%. Coming into this season, Ronald Acuna Jr., though, struck out 1 out of every 4 times he went to the dish. This season, he is striking out 1 out of every 8 times he goes to the dish. If you give me any hitter, anywhere, who Ks 1 out of every 8 ABs, that guy's going to be a megastar. Yeah. That's an incredible number. So here's a guy.
Have they asked him how he's more than doubled his production?
Not yet.
I mean, has he just figured something out?
They asked Brian Snicker. And frankly, not only do I love his answer, but I think his answer is spot on right now. I love his answer, and I think his answer is spot on. And I think his answer is spot on because Brian Snicker got asked, what's happening here, right? Dude cut his K rate in half. Imagine in one summer, Lonzo, taking whatever the thing is that is holding you back and becoming twice as good at it. Just in one summer, you just double your ability to overcome that challenge, right? Now, Ronald Acuna Jr. has been known historically during his time with the Braves. He's only 25. He turned 25 this season, right? I don't know about you, Zo. When Rob Brown was in his early 20s, I was what my mother would describe to you as an idiot. I was an idiot. I was immature. I was dumb. And so are, I think, most people. Most people in their early 20s are dumb because you're in that weird spot where you're like, unless life just punched you in the throat and you got a bad roll of the dice to start. Most of us in our early 20s, we're not teenagers anymore, but we don't really know who we are as adults either. And that leads to half of your life being controlled by your dying teenager brain and half of your life being controlled by your developing adult brain, and neither one of those brains is capable of steering the ship, and it results in you having a misguided captain at the helm.
All right, admittedly, I had those problems too, and then I got married, and then, it kind of stabilized me. And when I say problems, I mean I had no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of day by day going, okay, I need a career, but I don't know what to do. And college didn't work out, and then I got married, and things.
Yeah, because you
clarified.
Introduced a much better captain to the ship.
Well, at least help.
Yeah.
There's that. At least help.
Most of us in our early 20s are misguided at the best, really dumb at the worst. I was on the latter end of that spectrum. Ronald Acuna Jr. was no different.
But then you pulled yourself together. Now you've won 2 SCBA Star Awards for the best sports show in South Carolina.
Because I got to a point in this career where I went, hey, if I would like to be a future two-time SCBA Broadcaster of the Year, what it's going to take is me drilling down and getting better at the things that I lack at. Now, there are still things I can improve, and I think the best at anything are the people that even at the top of their game still believe there are things I can do better. Mike and Kobe still thought there were things they could do better when they retired, right? Ronnie, I think, and this is what Snicker chalked it up to. Ronnie, I think, basically grew up. Honestly, I think he grew up. And I don't know what accounts for that. I don't know if it was Freddie Freeman leaving and this team needed a clubhouse leader and Ronnie was the best guy for the job because of how damn good he is. I don't know if it was because the Bravos won a World Series and Ronnie, who did not play a large part in it, wanted to get one with him in the lineup. I don't know what we can attribute it to, but Ronnie's biggest issue with the dish was a K rate of 1 in 4. Ronnie spent, clearly, according to Snick, who called it, quote, maturity and experience, just the confidence that guys have as they become older and play the game longer. Acuna's strikeout improvement went from 23.6% as a single season number last year to 12.2% this year. That is not only the best in the MLB this season, he has the biggest gap between last year's K rate to this year's K rate. It is the biggest change in K rate with a minimum of 400 plate appearances since Ryan Klesko in 1998, another guy who Braves fans are very familiar with.
I think anybody at any job, when you first start and you're like, yeah, I kind of get it, but I don't get it. And then suddenly you get it and you click and boom, things are so much easier. Maybe it's just a matter of him getting better at his job.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I any time that you get better or worse at something, it is because something changed. If nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yeah, but I know in my case, sometimes I have trouble understanding something exactly. And then when I finally understand it all the way around, all the ins and outs of it, then I get better at it.
Sure. What I'm saying is, if you don't understand a thing, right? If I go, Lonzo, 2 + 2 is 4, and you go, I don't get it. And I go, Lonzo, 2 + 2 is 4, and you go, I don't get it. And I go, Lonzo, 2 + 2 is 4, and you go, I haven't done anything different. And therefore, your understanding of the thing doesn't change. But if I go over here and I go, Lonzo, 2 means 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you go, oh, I understand that now. I have changed something. I've changed the way that I explained it to you. Now you get it. Something changed for Ronald Acuna Jr.
Can you help me later when I need a timeout to the top of the hour?
100%.
Yeah, I'm going to need that.
Graphs. Big graphs guy. Something changed for Ronnie. Ronnie was a dude known up until this year as a guy who was very frequently accused of loafing. I've been accused of loafing. Loafing, of course, meaning just whatever.
Yeah, you couldn't tell, though.
Yeah. I fake everything very well. It's how I've made a whole career out of it.
There you go.
Ronnie was very frequently accused of loafing. If Ronnie hit a towering fly ball to center field, Ronnie would very frequently just kind of like half jog down to first until the ball was caught. And what it led to a couple of times for Ronnie was the ball would actually fall, and then he'd get thrown out anyway. Or he'd hit a routine grounder to short, and he would just kind of jog to first, and then the shortstop would misplay the ball, pop out of the glove. And anybody running to first would have been safe, but Ronnie was loafing, and he got thrown out anyway. He ain't doing that this year. Whatever that maturity shift was for Ronald Acuna Jr. has taken a guy who's been really good and made him arguably not just the best player in the National League this year, but he might have the best individual offensive season of any player ever. And you can make arguments about Maris and McGuire and Sosa and Judge. But 62 home runs equates to 62 runs plus the RBIs, which maybe if you're one of the best, you get to the range of that's 170-ish runs. How many runs does Ronnie Acuna Jr. account for? But he's got 55 steals. And oh, by the way, he might get to that 75 number. In fact, I'm going to bet on him too. He's got 27 dingers. He might get to that 35 number. In fact, I'll be shocked if he doesn't. And becomes the first member of the 35-75 club. That's insanity. The only way, and Texter, you are exactly correct on the carpros.com text line at 71307. He says, if Matt Olson gets to 60 home runs, he will win MVP. I disagree with that. But if he gets to 63 home runs, he will. If Matt Olson beats Aaron Judge's record, and by the way, I don't think he will. All right? I don't think he will. That's a big ask. I hope he does. Be great. I'd love to see that happen. If Matt Olson gets to 63 and knocks off Aaron Judge, knocks the record, then yes, Matt Olson will steal the MVP because as Cody Decker points out on the nationally syndicated Bet for the Cycle radio program, hosted by Cody Decker and, well, me, every Saturday from noon to 4, baseball loves to recognize guys, maybe goes out of its way sometimes to recognize guys who break a record. Last year, the MVP of Major League Baseball was not Aaron Judge. It was Shohei Ohtani. But Aaron Judge won it because of the home run chase, right? If Matt Olson gets in a home run chase with A. Judge and chases him down, then yes, he will win the MVP. He will not deserve it, but he will win it. If he does not, it's Ronnie Acuna, and it's a runaway vote. Let's take a break, ladies and gentlemen. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. Coming up next, time for Fight Club with the great one. We're going to catch you up on the world of MMA, fake MMA, and professional wrestling. And it's all coming up next. It's Rob, it's Lonzo, it's Weenus and Pitt on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we got a live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back. All right, dudes. Thanks for hanging out, y'all.
Maybe you just need to go tell them how it's done. How dare you?
I really should.
Can I
James,
speak
would
to your
say this.
manager?
I would not say Ronald Acuna Jr. was lazy, but I would absolutely say he had moments of laziness. I absolutely would say there were moments where he looked lazy. And if you look lazy in moments, it is not unfair to describe you as lazy.
I have moments of lazy.
Absolutely. I do it daily. And if you call me lazy, I'm not going to fight you that hard and push back on it. I will point out that I grind for the show. I work, as Lonzo loves to point out, 36 different jobs.
37.
37
You
different
are
jobs.
off season in one
That's
of them.
true.
It's,
Hockey does start in like 3 weeks.
You could say I'm lazy, and then I'll tell you all the things I've already done today. I don't know if you're more efficient and you get more done and you take a little time. Are you being lazy? Or are you just faster than everybody else?
No, efficiency is fine.
But couldn't you those moments that you got all that done, then you've got time to do something else?
Some people feel that way, others do not. My thing is, once the assigned task is completed, unless you assign me another task, I got the job done. I'm done.
I'd rather get the job done and not let people know I got the job done so they can't assign me any more jobs. That's why I keep my door closed when Rob's not here. When your door's open, people find a reason to come in there and ask you to do something. And my thing is, hey, award-winning stuff going on in here, on a day like today, when I'm just feeling like I don't even want to do this, this intro gets me going and makes me want to face the day the way all those guys face the day. If you can't hear with reckless abandon and without any consequences. Of course, that's their job. Let's talk about something that Rob has been wanting to talk about all week. It's been killing him, and he said, we're just going to talk about it, and then he forgot. Well, I didn't. So we are going to talk about Elon Musk versus the coward Zuckerberg. We're going to talk about that. So according to Deadline, that's some sort of source, I think. Deadline. Yeah.
Well, isn't that a TV show? Deadline a TV show?
Yeah, I think it's a TV show. That's a news show also. But Deadline is
Deadline is Hollywood entertainment breaking news.
Yeah, there we go. So that means it's credible, of course.
It's lesser. It's like TMZ light.
TMZ
without the gross.
I think Deadline's been around longer.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
It's like TMZ without the gross.
Okay, so
I'm sticking with that.
Deadline, according to Deadline, Elon Musk is firing back at Mark Zuckerberg after the Meta founder called to move on from the fight with the X/Twitter owner. Musk and Zuckerberg had agreed to a match that would be streamed on their respective social media platforms, but no date was ever agreed on by the billionaires. Tired of waiting, Zuckerberg released a statement saying it was time to forget about their caged fight. Following Zuckerberg's statement, Musk has taken to X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, to throw some jabs at his opponent. Zuck is a chicken, is what Musk posted. In another post where an X user suggested Zuckerberg was trying to chicken out in the fight versus Musk, the latter replied, he can't eat at Chick-fil-A because that would be cannibalism.
Okay.
So obviously, Zuckerberg wimping out on the whole thing, which is what we expected. I mean, you can show that, hey, look,
don't you
look,
say we?
look at how it's the collective we, which Rob apparently is not a part of, but I speak for the people.
No, you
but
don't.
We expected Zuckerberg, the true nerd, out of this situation to wimp out because, if Threads were doing better, he'd be ready to go. So that's what it comes down to. Threads isn't doing so well. So now he's wimping out on the thing, and he knows X going to do it to him. And so he don't want none.
You done? Because you're not
calling
right.
out the chicken?
Because you're not right.
No, I'm not done calling out the chicken.
Because they said, let's do this.
Bok, chicken.
You're fanboying too hard for Elon. And I get it. I
And
respect it.
you're about to come fanboy from the other side.
I'm not fanboying because I hate Zuckerberg. They're both gigantic dork-ass losers.
Am I the only one who couldn't tell that?
Both of them suck. Now, here's what happened. They started this whole thing. Musk was like, yo, I'm in. All right. Zuck was like, yo, I'm in. Dana, another guy I'm not a fan of. Dana said, I got you. Dana said, I'm putting it together. And then all of a sudden, Elon had to have surgery. He said it, not me. I can't do it. I got to have surgery. Once I have the surgery and I can get some training in, I'm in. He had to, then.
Notice the tone. It sounds like he's on one side. I'm just saying,
I'm telling you what Elon Musk said. I got to have surgery. Then.
Sometimes when you're prepping for a fight, things happen.
What happened here?
Well, it's your show.
They're just going to keep defending this guy for no reason.
I'm not defending. I'm just throwing in some practicalities that sometimes injuries occur.
Said, I got to have surgery. Dana and what's his dork? Zuck were like, all right, well, then we're out. And then like 2 days later, Musk is like, oh, you're running from me. I thought you had to have surgery, bro. If I'm going to fight a dude and he goes, I can't have surgery, I broke my back. And I go, okay, well, then I won't fight you. I'm the chicken now? No. And then, so it went from, I got to have surgery when Dana's like, yo, sign it. I got you. Sign up right here. Oh, I got to have surgery. To then everybody's like, okay, well, then we're not going to talk about it right now. And then all of a sudden he's fine to fight. Then Elon starts tweeting out, I'm taking my Robo Tesla and I'm just going to show up at Zuck's house. Then Zuck comes out and shows the messages from Elon where he's like, let me come to your backyard. Literally, let me come to your backyard and fight you. Let me just come to your backyard. Let's get some sparring in. Let me just do it that way. And so it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Why am I just going to randomly fight you in my backyard? There's nothing for me here, which is fair.
How big is his backyard, do you think?
He apparently has like a training octagon there.
Yeah,
right?
It's probably
He's
pretty
got
big.
a backyard like McAfee's got a studio. It's just a playground because he's got money.
Okay.
Which don't get me wrong. I would do the same thing. Right?
Except you probably wouldn't have an octagon because
I'd have a basketball court and a baseball field without a doubt. Right? So I'm not mad at that.
No golf course?
If putting green, absolutely.
Okay,
In fact, I've already petitioned to the fiance multiple times. Can I build a putting green in our backyard? Shockingly, she said no.
See, and I would have.
She said no so far.
I'd have a bowling alley, a skating rink,
That'd be great too.
and a theater.
Yes to all of it. The point is, he says, "Hey yo, let me come to your house and fight you, and we won't stream it." Zuck's like, "No, I'm not doing that. Like that's pointless." That's
okay,
dumb.
what are your sources on that? Because I didn't see that anywhere.
Mark Zuckerberg put out the messages, and Elon has yet to say
all right,
that's not real.
So there's this plural thing on the end of the word I said, sources, not just source.
The source is the message.
Yeah, I need more.
That is the message.
I need more sources, man.
And your boy Elon
Because
will not talk about them at all.
Not my boy. Neither one of my boys.
You're the one calling Zuck.
No.
You
I
have picked a side.
By the way,
it's clear who it is.
I quoted Deadline on that. And we play sound effects here. That's what we do. We're on the radio.
Said Mark Zuckerberg's a chicken bagok because that's what you just said.
As I just pointed out, we play sound effects. That's because we're award winning, and you add something to enhance the thing. That's what I was doing.
The point here is that Elon Musk is full of crap. He's full of crap about everything. Everything. Well, I grabbed my bootstraps. No, you did. You inherited a freaking multi-billion-dollar fortune.
See, I don't know. I wasn't there.
I'm a free speech guy. No, you're not. Why are you limited to the New York Times on your website? You're not a free speech guy. You're a your speech guy. All the things that literally everything Elon has said has been full of crap. And this, by the way, is from a dude who can't stand Mark Zuckerberg.
Wow, look, I can follow the New York Times on X. Okay.
How long did it take when you clicked on it to get to their website? There is a 4-second throttle when you click on New York Times articles.
First of all,
it is a no other.
First of all, let me point this out. I really don't go to any news source because I don't care, and I get all my news from WRD. So I mean, there's that. But all right, let's click and count. 1. Okay, I was there. it was literally 1 second I was there. Maybe your computer's slower. I mean, it could be that. I just here's what it comes down to.
Washington Post reports on a news article that comes from Jeremy B. Morrell and Drew Harwell from August 15, 2023, The company formerly known as Twitter has been slowing the speed with which users can access links to the New York Times, Facebook, and other news organizations and online competitors, a move that appeared targeted at companies that have drawn the ire of owner Elon Musk. This is, by the way, their news, not editorial.
Okay, really quick. Do you have multiple sources saying that, or
Yes!
just that one?
The Post,
you just said
the
that.
Time.
No, you just said that.
I'm about to just unload in your DMs, bro.
You're not.
I have
You're not.
multiple sources.
You're not.
Listen, here's the reality. The reality is
He's really angry over this for some
Yes,
reason. I don't know why.
Because you are fanboying Elon,
I am
and
not.
it's aggravating when he is the chicken boat that is. For the record,
According to
and
Deadline, according
I
to
will
Deadline,
buy the fight. I will buy this fight. Dead serious. I will buy this fight to watch two nerd dork ass losers fight each other for no reason at all. I will buy this fight. I will give these billionaires my money to watch it because I hope one of them gets put to sleep and put to sleep hard. I hope it happens, right? But the fact is, Zuck has put Elon on the carpet 4 times, and 4 times Elon's been like, oh, my back hurts. Oh, my back. No, I'm done. Elon's a punk. Zuck sucks, and I'm still on his side in this. And I can't stand that
we already
guy.
knew you were on his side.
Yeah, because he's not the one acting like a chicken boat right now.
No, according to Deadline, it is him. So anyway, let's move on. I don't know how you thought this was going to go, but probably not like this. But that's fine. The next thing we need to talk about is let's get to real sports news. Let's talk about JD McDonough.
The Irish Ace.
Yes. Will he join the Judgment Day? And who's out if he does? Because my theory is Priest is out soon. And will the Judgment Day be any good without him in it? Because Priest is a better babyface than he is a heel.
So I don't know that I would or would not agree with that right this moment. Here's what I will say. Judgment Day is fine without Damian Priest, A, and B, despite the fact that he's not a massive dude, JD McDonough in his beatdown of Sami Zayn last week showed he can be the muscle. That's Damian Priest's role right now. He can be the muscle in that group.
It's because he knows the anatomy so well. So he knows,
I love that role.
Yeah.
All of that being said, I think that as long as Mommy and Dirty Dom, as Mommy and Con Dom are at the helm, and as long as Finn is there, this group will be fine. The question mark is not, will they be fine when JD removes Damian Priest? Because he will. Because I do think eventually one of those guys gets a belt and Damian makes the decision to cash in on his own guy, and then he's out. The question mark is going to be how long before JD tries to unseat Finn. That's when it gets interesting.
All right. So I think there's only one member in this faction that if you remove it, it hurts the faction.
Rhea Ripley.
No, it's Dom.
No.
Yeah, because he's where the heat's coming from. He's where all the booing is coming from. Everything. I think you take him away, they go back to being, we kind of don't know what to do about
Here's
this.
how I feel about Dom. And by the way, I think he's done a good job, right? But you know how you feel about Seth and his song, right? You feel like Seth's not over, Seth's song is over.
Yes, I'm not the only one who thinks that.
That's how I feel about Dom and his boos. People aren't booing Dom because they have genuine heat on Dom. They're booing Dom because that's the meme right now. That's what everybody's doing.
Come on, they're booing him because of all the bad things he said about Rey Mysterio Jr., who is beloved by everyone.
He is.
Name me someone who doesn't like Rey Mysterio.
I think it started with that, and I think it's just gotten now to the point, as Tony Schiavone told us, most people in the audience try to get themselves over. And the audience gets over by booing so loud Dom can't talk. I think it's meme heat, which is not bad. Getting meme heat. Seth is on top because even if you're right, and it's meme, not heat. What's the opposite of heat? Over. Your meme over. Even if that's the case, the audience isn't singing Seth's song because they love Seth. They just love to make sure the audience gets its TV time, which is effectively what it is. The same is true for booing Dom at this point. Not to say it's not working, not to say it's not good. At the end of the day, a boo is a boo, whether it's meme boo or heat boo.
Or Majin boo.
Well done, dork.
Sorry. Whatever.
I think that it works. I am interested to see. I mean, the next domino is Damian. What do they do there? At some point, I think Finn ultimately is the one that unseats Seth, or JD does, and now you got a little three-way heat. Either way, it's good. It's good.
Well, we're going to see. I'm still not sold on the faction. I do love their intro. I loved all that stuff is really
great.
cool.
Of all the hologram intros they've tried to get over, theirs is the best.
Yeah, but it's got 4 on it. And if you had a 5th, well, you're going to have to get rid of someone, or they're going to have to change the logo. That's the reason why they're going to do it. All right. Did Jey Uso actually quit?
No.
He's been moved to the veteran page.
Yeah, he's on the alumni page.
Alumni page.
They've done that before, right?
I know.
I think it's a great gimmick. It's really entertaining. And by the way, deuces is now my favorite thing to say. I think it's great. No, I think you're going to have remember when, I don't remember which Mania it was, but remember the run up to the WrestleMania where John Cena wasn't on the card, and then he just started showing up as a ticket buyer? Like, he was just front row with tickets, and guys.
Is that the one where he ended up going against Undertaker?
They called him in last minute to have that match because they couldn't find an opponent or whatever. It was kind of goofy, but whatever. It got him on the card, and it was a fun little shtick for a while. I think you're going to get something like that. Like, I'm out of WWE, but I'm going to still show up every now and then to super kick my cousin and brother in the face. And by the way, can I just point out that this whole storyline, which has been 3 years in the making now, right? This has been going on since Thunderdome. This whole thing has been carried by Jey Uso. Roman has been great. Jimmy's been great. Solo's been great. Paul Heyman is the GOAT on the mic. But this whole thing has been on the shoulders of Jey Uso. They're not turning that guy loose. This is going to... It was even for me getting to the point where I'm like, all right, dude, like, we got to make a decision here. What are we going to do? And in one segment, I am full sail back in.
All right, let's jump to AEW. I was already going to buy this card. I don't buy too many of theirs because I've been disappointed more than I've been happy with the money spent. There's been a couple I'm like, yeah, that was good. But, I will always go back to the Explosion. It's like forever in my mind, or, lack thereof. Explosion. Orange Cassidy versus Wheeler Yuta last night will lead to Stadium Stampede in Wembley, and that got me. That got me. Can the Brits handle John Moxley bleeding all over everything? I don't know, because there's going to be those Stadium Stampede matches they're very entertaining.
They're great.
Yeah, they are.
They might be the best thing AEW does.
But how are they going to do it with people in it, or is it going to be pre-taped? That's my concern.
I think the majority of it. Listen, you can basically rope off areas. I think a lot of it's going to be done backstage.
Yeah. As I know,
you're right. Exactly.
Yes.
I think it'll be like they'll do one quick fight up the stairs through the fans, because that's a great shot. But then when you get up into either the concourse or B into the bowels of the stadium, you can kind of, all right, this is where you're going to stage this thing. I think that's got the opportunity to steal a show. I will say about the overall card, and then we'll get back to the individual ones on it. AEW is now sold, allegedly, if you trust them, AEW has now sold more tickets to All In at Wembley Stadium than any show WWE has ever done internationally. If that is true, that is huge. And it creates a moment where if they do anything but get this right, it's going to look real bad. You got to get this perfect, which is why I think you're getting a bunch of these great matches that it probably isn't best. Like, I don't think, as good as it might be, I don't think FTR Young Bucks is in the best benefit of AEW right now, except for this is a dream match for everybody who's not Lonzo.
But
so give it to them.
It's a Saudi Arabia thing.
That's exactly right.
It's fan service to people who don't normally get to see these guys wrestle, and you want to get all your stars on the card. And if you can get them going at each other, then that helps you a great deal with interest.
So you blow this show up by having it be an absolutely electric card with the best you have against the best you. Omega Takeshita should be incredible, right? BCC versus the combined efforts of the Best Friends and Lucha Brothers and Eddie. Eddie's not good, but he's a fan favorite. Whether you think he's good or not is irrelevant.
Yeah,
He is a fan favorite.
this is the kind of match where he's okay at. He also looks extremely slow. He looks extremely slow in this sort of thing. But if he has a chair in his hand or something else,
that's it.
yeah.
You let this guy go. This is the perfect match.
I don't
for him,
own a boat,
right?
bro.
You let the Lucha Brothers and the BCC and the Best Friends be the wrestlers, and then you let Eddie be the wild card. You let him be the dude that just goes out there and starts clobbering people with 2x4s for that what the bleep moment, and that's his role. That's what he's best at. I think the purpose of these matches is while they don't necessarily fit into the storylines that AEW is telling around the show right now, what they do is they create these matches that are like half in storyline, but more importantly, FTR Young Bucks, I'm way in. BCC Best Friends, Lucha Brothers, I'm way. And by the way, we don't even know who the BCC's partners are. They could trot out anybody that you go, oh my God.
I know who I'm hoping it is, and that would be House of Black. I just think that would add something else to it too.
Yeah.
Especially if you make the match a little bit later. All right, we are running out of time on a couple of other things. Beheaded Jericho. I want that picture.
Oh, man.
I want that picture to hang in the office. That is a cool picture.
If Don Callis was better at speaking interactions, he would be rapidly catching up with Heyman as like the best non-wrestling character. And he's close. That moment when Jericho pulled that sheet off that picture, Lonzo, I was watching it this morning and Zoe was in the office in the Fortress of Nerditude. And I was like, dude, that's great. That's great. That's incredible. It was incredible, not just because the picture itself is badass, but also you watch Jericho's face just drop out from under him. It was great.
All right. Joker Sting, love that. But one last thing, is Tony Khan becoming Vince McMahon, the character? Because we got to hear a little bit of Tony Khan, the character. Is that a road he needs to go down? Or does he need to stay humble Tony, nerdy Tony?
I'm going to tell you right now, that was the best Tony Khan we've seen so far. All right. Because Tony, the promoter, when he comes on, he's like, I'd like to thank everyone from the All Elite Wrestling fandom for being excited about this show. And that's not good. That's not good. But when Tony is screaming at MJF through the door and then he hits him with the great job, guys. Great job, guys. I'm excited about where we're going. Great job, guys. Before he slams the door shut, coked out Tony is incredible as a character. That's the only Tony Khan we need to see on TV. And by the way, please do. I know they're going to, and I know they're going to do it this weekend. Please don't ever break up MJF and Adam Cole, baby. Their comedy segments are perfect.
I want
kangaroo kick.
I want a bloomin' onion.
Double clothesline.
It is lunchtime. We could go get a bloomin' onion.
We do.
Yeah. It's right down
Coming
the road.
back to wrap this bad boy up. That's Fight Club. We got What the X coming up next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
By the way, I agree, Trey. That was a horrible match.
Wait for it. Part of a sponsorship package.
Yeah, I know.
And 100% of those profits are going to Maui to fight the Wild.
Yeah, I know.
So it's one of those things that I'm like, yes, of course it's done. Let's not pretend like WWE didn't trot out a really knockoff Dollar General RoboCop, all right?
No, here's the problem. There's one of the major problems I have with it. Leatherface is not that skinny. I mean, let's get a thick guy out there doing that. I mean, come on.
But again, the fact that they use that as they basically took the money from that video game and they are donating it to the wildfire victims. As far as I'm concerned, they are way off the hook for that.
They made it look like Karen as a scream queen with who was it? Taz, I think, said she looked like Carrie. Yeah, it was like, yeah, okay.
I haven't made it there yet.
Oh, so yeah. It's the match itself is not really that good either.
Yeah.
But when he comes out with the chainsaw,
what match
it's
was
like,
it during?
It's Jeff Hardy versus Jeff Jarrett. I don't remember what part of the show it is, if that's what you're asking. I think it's obviously you haven't gotten there yet. So
no, I genuinely wanted to know what match it was. I know it was during a match.
Well, the whole match is billed as that. They changed the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
They went with the
it was a horror match.
Yeah, they went with the Bray Wyatt lighting.
Doesn't it kind of defeat the purpose when you tell everybody that a serial killer's coming to the ring? Like Leatherface works on a script, you know?
Yeah, it's a problem. And he's not a very good Leatherface. That's the disappointment for me. So we didn't get to it. I was going to ask in a fatal 4-way between Leatherface, Michael Myers, Jason, and Freddy, who wins? My money's on Jason, by the way.
V Leatherface?
Fatal 4-way.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that part.
Jason, Freddy, Leatherface, and Michael Myers.
Michael Myers is first out.
See,
Except for the fact that he's unkillable, but if anybody's going to be able to kill the unkillable, it is Jason.
Yeah, but Jason's also technically unkillable.
Yeah, but Jason showed a little bit more athletic ability than Michael Myers.
Depends on which version. The Michael Myers from Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
That dude was huge and pretty quick. Just like the latest Jason, which I think was with Jared Padalecki in it. He was not the brooding, walk slow. He moved pretty quick. I mean, the speed advantage goes to Freddy Krueger, of course. But Leatherface,
here's my question.
You get the chainsaw out of his hand. He's just a dude wearing human skin on his face.
My question here is, is it a fatal 4-way like a wrestling match, or is this a fatal 4-way where they get to use their the ones that have it, their supernatural powers? Because if that's the case, the answer might still be Freddy Krueger.
Except Jason beat Freddy in a movie already. So
haven't they both beat each other in movies?
No.
Oh,
there's only one. There's only one movie.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't know. I don't watch horror movies.
And Jason won. And yes, I have bias towards Jason because I have hockey mask at home, and I can play a pretty mean Jason Voorhees, but still, know your build and go with it.
Jason or Michael Myers and be good.
I could do Leatherface also. Yeah. I can do the chainsaw dance.
I feel like any full masked serial killer.
Yeah, because it's really about the eyes and the body movement. Yeah. That's the thing. I've told this story one time. One of the salespeople who no longer works here did me wrong. So at the company Halloween party, I dressed as Jason and just stared at him, just followed him around. Wherever he went, there I was. It was a smaller guy. So, he turned around and there I was. I feel like I got my vengeance. I didn't get the money back, but, when I was scheduled to go somewhere every single week, had to use my gas money and didn't get paid for it and was required to eat the food so I could talk about. Yeah, it's, I think he deserved the Friday the 13th treatment. Time to tell you what the X is going on. That's what Rob's going to do. The first thing that's Xing is Blue Beetle. Wow, you're that thrilled about it, huh?
I want to be. I am almost always on board with representation of lesser known comic book characters, because you never know which ones are going to stick, and you never know which ones. And I'm almost kind of hoping, like, some of the stuff they've done over the years, that, like, all right, let's get out of the primary scene of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Like, let's go somewhere else, because, hey, maybe it works and you have something new to work with, something new to build with. But I've seen some of the promos of it, and it's just not doing it for me. Like, it's going to be a streaming only for me.
All right. It looks pretty cool to me, except for the comment that Batman's a fascist. I just don't know why that's necessary, but
I mean, are people in movies not allowed to have opinions? Like, are characters not allowed to have opinions about the world they live in?
No.
For the record, Batman is without question mark a vigilante. That is the definition of the Batman. And there are a lot of people who are very anti-vigilantes and would think Batman, despite the fact that he's cleaning up the city, is basically one of the criminals that he's stopping, right?
Yes.
So characters
yes.
within worlds having opinions you disagree with just makes them deeper characters to me.
I just wanted to point that out because maybe that would make you want to go see it more.
No. I mean, I don't think...
Since it's more political, maybe that will appeal to you a little bit more.
Oh, listen, I am all about movies that actually have more thought to them than good guy, punch bad guy. Like, I like when you have well-rounded... Do you understand? My primary problem with Batman v Superman was that everything was fixed by Martha! No! That is surface level superficiality.
That makes it sound like people who have a problem with that don't love their moms, and I know that's not the truth.
Dude,
I mean, I know
if
that's not the truth.
If you're in a fist fight with a dude and he goes, "Hey, my mom's name's the same as yours," you're not going to stop fighting that guy. Oh, your mom's name's Martha.
All right,
too.
I might.
We're BFFs now, bro.
I might. Well, you just talked about a weed whacker earlier making people friends. Why would that?
Yeah, but those guys weren't punching each other in the face.
And we've also talked about how a lot of people get in fights and then they're friends afterwards. So I mean, why not? Why not, Martha? I don't have a problem with it. All right, the next thing that's trending is Xbox 360.
I don't know why.
They're closing the store.
Okay.
Which are you surprised the store was still open?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm
like
less surprised
2 consoles past that, and
that is a what, a 2-generation. I bought a 360 when I was in college. I'm very not in college anymore.
No, you're not.
I'm shocked that it's good they left it open because there's a lot of people that just don't have the means to be able to move up. So I think it's great that you provided a decade of them still being able to utilize an older console. But I am shocked it's still open. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's all. We're done. Next show is the last show of the week. Remember, Furman Fan Fest coming up this Saturday, 4 p.m. You'll be able to meet the team, get some autographs, check out them run through some drills as they get ready for Week 1, Game 1 that you'll hear right here on the Fan Upstate. For Lonzo and I, we're back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Have a lovely rest of your Thursday. This has been the 2-time Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year, the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You know what? None of you have a mom named Martha. Okay, if you did,
Martha.
If your mom's name was Martha, maybe it would mean more to you. That's all I'm saying. And no, my mom's name is not Martha. I'm just saying. You guys are all picky. It's a superhero movie. I mean, what did you expect?
More than the fight between Earth's greatest defender and this alien life form ended because they have been trying to kill each other for 30 minutes. And then it stops because.
By the way, if you watch the extended, you'll find out that Batman has been highly influenced by Darkseid, and he's not thinking clearly. And because of that broke through. Because the reason why he's doing what he's doing is because of the death of his mom. By the way, again, if you watch the extended, you would see that.
Was it in the movie when I went to what? Don't go, hey, this movie that you paid money to see in the theaters and was bad. If you spend more money and watch the parts we didn't put, it actually makes sense. Then put it in the.
By the way, there's also this thing that the uber nerd got it and the one who's not didn't. So I got it because I'm.
If you tell a story,
I'm just more of a nerd than you, Rob.
Universe to get the story right. This is why, for instance, you know what movie I absolutely hate? No Country for Old Men. Hate that movie. It is widely
didn't interest me, so I didn't watch it.
I watched it. I tried it because I
only watched things that can't happen.
I watched that movie because I wanted to be impressed. The Coen brothers are great. I wanted to be impressed. And then the movie just stops. Like pivotal scene, you think this is it. This is the climax. This is nope. It just stops. And then all the people love it. My little brother included will hit you with, well, it's up to your interpretation. No! was Tommy Lee Jones rambling like a decrepit old man drinking coffee, a badass killer, by the way. Shigor was one of the best. He was a terrifying bad guy. And then the last scene is him just bleeping off into the sunset. What? You didn't finish the movie.
So you didn't get closure and that bothered you?
Yes. I would have been better if Shigor was walking down the road and the guy who was going to kill walks up and he goes, my mom's name is Martha, and Shigor goes, mine too, and then they walk off into the sunset. That would have been better. My blood pressure's going up. I'm going home.
Yeah, his blood pressure's been going off all day.
No.
Yeah. I often tell him just because you're louder doesn't make you right. This makes you loud.
Goodbye.